Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to the latest episode of the Hard Compound Live. For those of you who don't know, my name's Rich and I run and operate the Hard Compound. We're a one-stop shop for all things motorsport, and we can be found on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and these videos can be found on our YouTube channel. So do search for the Hard Compound on any of those. Come along and join the fun. We're here to share a love of motorsport, nothing else, no controversy, no arguments, no nonsense, just a love of all things noisy and fast. We cover everything from F1 to IndyCar, touring cars, bikes, rallying, World Endurance Championship, supercars, and anything else that we can shake a stick at. And we do that in the form of 3 written articles every day, usually. These go out at about 9 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 8:30 p.m. In the UK. And they take the form of race reviews, race previews, throwbacks, birthdays, breaking news, favourite liveries, and anything else that's going on in the motorsport world. We cover it as best we can for all of you lovely lot out there. So come along, join in the fun. We'd love to have you on board. In case you haven't noticed, we also do live video interviews just like this one. And just like this one, these go out on Facebook, Twitter, and our YouTube channel, automatically saved in the video section on Facebook and in the live section over on YouTube. Excuse me. This is interview number 201. I'm not going to name all of the other guests that we've had on, mainly because I can't. But just to give you a quick cross section before we get started, we've spoken to the likes of Mr. Mario Andretti, Jackie Hicks, Chip Ganassi. We've spoken with last week Mr. Jan Magnussen. Week before that, we had Bobby Rahal, guys like Kenny Brack and Ralph Furman, David Brabham, Stefan Johansson, Carl Wendlinger, Emanuele Pirro, Derek Warwick, Ari Lyondike, Alonso Jr., Will Power, Alex Palou, many guests, including people from the British Touring Car Championship and World Touring Car Championship Worlds, which we're going to talk about tonight. We've spoken to everyone from John Cleland to Steve Soper, Ivan Muller, Gabriele Tarquini, and most of the British Touring Car Championship grid of today, and others. You get the idea. So do go and check those out when you get the chance. Don't do it just yet, though, because we have got, in my eyes and in the eyes of many, a legend of the BTCC Super Touring era. He also raced in a number of other Tin Top Series, races in historics, and he is one of the best characters in British motorsport in my book. So without any further ado, we're going to bring him in. Please join me in extending a very warm welcome to Mr. Patrick Watts.
Good evening, Richard. Good evening, all the viewers. I feel a little bit humbled after that list of tosses you read out. You know, okay, they're quite good drivers, some of them.
Well, I thought we had to work up to you from the bottom, so we had to. No, thank you very,
not
very
how
much
I see it. 201. I mean, blimey, 201 in front of me.
Yes, when I started counting a few months back, I couldn't believe it was that many. Given that there weren't supposed to be any to begin with, this was never supposed to be a thing. So amazing that we've had some people on, and thank you for joining the illustrious list. We spoke back in January, didn't we? Back at the Autosport show, and we managed to get it all together.
You booked me in.
Yes, we've made it happen. I should apologise that Amy got in first, though.
Oh, I haven't talked to her about that. Yeah, I should have looked at her interview first to see what lies she told.
Well, we can always go back, can't we? We can always recount them and see how it goes on. But no, thanks very much for coming on and having a chat this evening. I'm very much looking forward to it.
I'm going to dispel all the myths tonight. It's not true.
Yes.
It's not true. I didn't do it.
Whatever it was, I didn't do it. But very quickly, I'll turn my attention to the comments section. Looks like it's all working. Well, Facebook certainly is. And everyone else as well. Good evening to everyone who's tuning in. Just to handpick a few: Jim McKendrick, Dave Cox, Keith Mail, Oliver Taylor, Andrew Rankin, Defan Evans, and loads more. Aaron Ewing tuning in. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. There's loads of you already. If you have any questions or comments, pop them in on your chosen channel, and we will work them into the chat as we go, or you can just chat amongst yourselves, whatever you like. The more comments, the better. Give it a push. Right. Housekeeping done, I think. Right. Well, firstly, Patrick, how's everything been in the last? Well, I only saw you 10 days ago at Brands Hatch, didn't I? But how's it all been in the last few months? Obviously, with Amy racing and the bits and pieces you've been doing.
Well, life's been fantastic, apart from Amy's racing. I never used to get nervous when I raced. Now I'm just so nervous. And people ask me, I'll watch the race, she's in it. Someone says, oh, so and so did well, he won and whatever. I've got no idea what anybody else did on the track. All I'm doing is watching her until she crosses the line at the end. And then my heartbeat slows down.
And you can exhale.
I hope I don't make her nervous. Before the race, I go up to her in the collection area and we do a fist pump. And I'm tempted to say, drive slowly, drive carefully, Amy. But I don't see. I say, drive it like you stole it, Amy. Go for it, And it's not what I'm feeling.
No, I'm sure.
It is nerve-wracking. I don't know how parents of motorcycle riders on their first trip to the Isle of Man, I don't know how they cope.
Yeah.
How a guy will prepare some 16-year-old's motorbike and take him to the Isle of Man, and he'll do a little bit on YouTube and whatever, and then dad will send him out, right, son, go as fast as you can. I mean, you've got a 1 in 100 chance of probably dying on the Isle of Man. Those guys are incredibly skillful, but mostly they're incredibly brave.
Yeah,
I think how the parents cope, I don't know.
I mean, they tread the line between bravery and lunacy, don't they? It's absolutely incredible what they do. And as you say, I don't know how parents or relatives deal with it. No. Just go. I think they just go to a happy place for for an hour and
yeah.
Hopefully, I must admit, I did see actually at Silverstone. I was up in the Goodwood hospitality sort of box thing, and you were down in the assembly area, and I could see you and Amy. And once you got in the car, there was definite pacing from your part. You were sort of up and down the fence. I was like, oh, that's bad. So I could see you from up there. But yes, I totally get
that's how you spot the parents in testing. They're the ones pacing up and down. Looking less rich.
They're kind of like laying down more rubber than the cows. But yeah, and also, but the big question is, have you got the dumper truck out of the pond yet? Because I saw that was a bit of a misdemeanor.
yeah, that got out of the pond okay. Bit of a scary moment because just after it stopped on the ledge of the pond, it drops to about 8 foot. So I evacuated it before it slid in, and it didn't slide in. But this is what I enjoy doing. I bought a digger, a Kubota KH101, which is a bit of a classic, or I might say a bit cheap, off eBay, and dug a massive great pond, and 30 foot long by 39 foot wide or whatever, and 8 foot deep. Great fun. Yeah, it'll be a swimming pool until the frogs get in there and the toads and whatever.
And well, obviously, minor bump in the road, but it's all right. It did make for a very good Instagram post. That was very funny
from the wife. Yeah,
that was good stuff. Oh Christ, there's loads of comments coming in already, guys. I'm gonna try and catch up with those. Love that question. Okay, we're going to come up to that. Right, anyway, so yes, glad all is well, and that's the present taken care of. What I like to do, though, is start right at the very start with everyone I speak to. Where did the interest in motorsport come from?
Well, I guess it came from my dad, because we lived about 2 miles away from Brands Hatch. And my mum obviously wanted rid of me and my brother on Sundays. My dad was a doctor and he officiated in the marshal's posts at Brands Hatch. So he would drag my brother and I up there. He would dump us in the press box at the base of the main grandstand with a lunch box, and told a few people around, like, keep an eye on these two, especially that one over there. That must have been me. And we watched the racing. But I remember sitting there watching the noisy cigar-shaped cars go round, which I thought were pretty boring. So that would have been Graham Hill, Jim Clark, all those sort of people,
I think I've heard of a couple of those,
but they also then had a round of the British Touring Car Championship.
Right.
So this must have been a Grand Prix. I mean, this, I was pretty honoured, but unappreciative of their Formula One cars, but love the saloon cars.
Right.
You had Dave Brody,
Oh, no.
Mike Chittenden. You had the Broadspeed, the maroon Broadspeed Mark One Escorts. You had the Minis, Richard Longman, not Kelvin Burt, and although Harmer or Hillman Imps. Loved that racing, loved that. And so it was always going to be saloon cars, not single seaters for me, for various reasons. I mean, getting into single seaters is, you need a very rich dad. I didn't have a very rich dad because he brought up 4 kids and we all went to private school and he worked for the National Health. So I wasn't going to get into Formula One other than through maybe mini racing, which is what I did.
So I mean that was the, just for various reasons. But you say like the main thing, same as these days, it's like the budget constraints, isn't it? On with single seaters and things like that.
But I never considered I would go motor racing. Apart from my dad had a friend and they went hill climbing.
Right.
Car hill climbing. My dad did it in his Mini. He borrowed my friend's E-Type Jag and did it. Another friend had a Bugatti and he did it, friend of my dad's, and we got dragged along and I quite enjoyed watching that. So when I got to the age of 17, my brother and my dad, between them, bought a racing Mini off a guy called Mick Osborne. And it was a Mini that had just won the Mini Miglia Championship. They bought that to hill climb. And they did a few hill climbs. The engine went wrong, this went wrong, that went wrong. Even though I was just 17, I was able to take the engine apart, rebuild it, get the car all going. And they lost interest and I had the car. So I borrowed a van from a chap down the road and took it to hill climbs and started hill climbing it.
And that was the first time you went competitive racing?
Yeah. And in the first year, I was actually leading the Gyson Bead Blaster National Hill Climb Championship. Until we went to Lowton Park. Now, it's my first time at Lowton Park and my last time. The car came with the tyres that did the last Mini Miglia race the year before, and the front ones were worn out. So there I am in the scrutineering bay at Lowton Park, and the scrutineers looking at the car saying, "Your front tyres are down to the canvas." And I had a little look. I said, only had 4 tyres. Nothing more came with the car, and I certainly didn't have a budget to spend any more on the racing other than the fuel to get backwards and forwards to Lowton Park. I used to sleep in the car with my girlfriend, or we'd park the van next door to the car if it was warm, and we'd put a tarpaulin over the car and the van and sleep in between it.
Wow.
Then and on one occasion, actually, we got picked up by a couple who said, "Oh, come to a party." And we went to a party until the early hours. And he was driving us back to the hill climb, because I was racing the next day, when he crashed into a lamppost, obviously showing off. I hate being a passenger anyhow, let alone a passenger that knows I'm a racing driver. Anyhow, I was only like 17 then, but he skidded round this roundabout, overcorrected, straight across to the other side of the road, straight into a lamppost.
Oh, crikey.
Finished the car, phoned up his dad. I was feeling a bit sick at this time because I'd had too much to drink. And anyhow, his dad picks us up in his Jag. Automatic Jag, leather seats, me feeling sick, him on and off the throttle, stirred up my stomach, something rotten. I'm sitting in the back seat.
Oh.
I couldn't hold it in any longer. And I was sick all over the back of his dad's head and down his front and over the dashboard.
Oh, crikey.
But nevertheless, got to the hill climb, eventually got back there, and I think and did well in the hill climb. In fact, I think I set the new course record, which lasted about a week, for up to 1,000cc minis. And it was held by a guy called Chris Kramer at that stage. But anyhow, that was my first forays into motorsport, hill climbs.
Wow.
But Lowton Park, bald front tires. Right, okay, I'll fool the scrutineer. I'll put the ball tires on the back and put the rear tires, which were actually quite good, on the front. Which
Right.
any of you out there will know, this is going to create a lot of oversteer, which it did. Had grippy front tires. I now had bald rear tires, as opposed to probably an understeering car before with bald front tires and grippy rear tires. So I just changed the whole balance of the car. So on my first run up the hill climb, there's a corner called a semicircle, which goes on and on and on to the left, and then it dives down to a gate. Anyhow, I saw that gate out of my side window. As I got out of the semicircle, totally sideways, corrected one way, got into a big tank slapper, dived off the track into a pond upside down, caught a tree stump on the way down the bank. It somersaulted into the pond, and now I am upside down in this pond. It's only a pond, it's shallow because the marshals waded in to rescue me. So I'm sitting there upside down, hanging on the seat belts, and there's this brown water gushing
Coming up
into the roof, gushing into the roof. I'm looking down, but looking up,
Yeah.
And I've got this brown water gushing. And I think, well, I think the worst that could be is I've got a leaky radiator. But it was more than that. It was actually pond water. It was more water than comes out. Yeah. So that was the end of that. So dragged that car home and used a few bits to build it into a new shell, from the breaker's yard. Welded that all up with a stick welder, not very well, and built it into a Mini 850 challenge car, or the Mini 7.
Right, yes.
Which is the championship that I idolized because I just loved minis.
Yeah.
And that was attainable. You could do that on a week's salary,
Wow.
And I didn't, I was a design draftsman then, earning about 5 and 6 pence a month, which and that paid for me to go motor racing in the Mini 850. I built the car myself.
So you built it upside down in a pond. You cobbled the rest of it together with something else and built.
Yeah, and made a Mini 850.
Brilliant.
And took it to Brands Hatch, and did my first ever race. But as we went out, I mean, this will sound unbelievable, but as I went out of the pit lane to join the track to do qualifying, I was stopped by a marshal, and he said, "You can't just wear a t-shirt," he said. "You've got to have long sleeves." So I had to get out of the car, go and find someone with a pullover. I put this acrylic pullover over me, which had long sleeves. Then I was okay to go out and qualify.
Wow, that was the stipulation. No elbows.
Yeah. And the fan belt fell off in the race, and that's all I remember.
Wow.
I was sponsored then by White Post Garage, and the deal was I borrowed their van, which was not the van I borrowed for the hill climbs, but this was White Post Garage. So I had White Post Garage down the side of the car, in exchange for a van at weekends when it was available. So that was my first commercial deal in motor racing.
Wow. A van. A van for transport. But I just love that. I mean, was there any thought of going into circuit racing before that happened? Or was it just a case of I'll just go and do hill climbs?
Not really. To be honest, I didn't like school and I didn't like work.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's overrated work, and school is certainly overrated.
Mm,
So I always thought I was a bit lazy because I hadn't got my head into anything I really enjoyed.
right.
But I enjoyed the racing. I enjoyed preparing the car,
Yeah.
and I would work all night preparing the car. I'd work day and night. I'd even sacrifice my job for it, insofar as I'd phone in sick more often than not after a race meeting or before a race meeting. They knew what I was doing. I mean, that's why I didn't hold a job down for long.
Fully
But
aware.
I would, yeah, and I realized this is my thing. I like the mechanical challenge, the development of the car for nothing. Um, like I had no money, um, and the trailing links on the tie rods on a Mini, some people put rose joints on them, but they were like 10-20 quid each.
Yeah.
So I made mine out of an old steering rack, ball joints. The ball joints on the end of a steering rack.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hacksawed them off and drilled a hole, tapped it, and bolted them on the front eyes of the subframe.
That's
So
fantastic.
I don't know how strong they were, but they did the job.
Well,
They
they
were
were strong
different,
enough. Clearly, they were.
and they cost nothing because you could get those from the breaker's yard. You
That's
went in there
brilliant.
with a heavy bag and you went out with a heavy bag. Sorry, I didn't want anything today, mate. And you've got a bag full of joints and all sorts of bits and pieces.
Bits and bits. That. That's just like a very pure way of going racing. Just getting bits together, going racing, knowing the mechanics of things. Because now that just doesn't happen, does it? I mean,
It
they
is.
wouldn't. They
It
wouldn't
it it
allow it.
it
And
it, it disappoints me now when I go and watch the mini racing. I mean, the mini racing now, the Mini 7 Club, you've got the Mini Miglias, you've got the Mini 7s, and the cars are lovely, but the regulations have gone wild. It used to be you could build a car. Like when I was doing it, we supported the British Grand Prix.
right,
It was an important
proper.
championship,
Yeah.
but the regulations were written on one folded bit of A4. I mean,
Right.
folded over to make an A3.
A
Folded over to make an A3.
A5.
Is that an A5?
Yeah.
A5.
A3 is the big one. Yeah.
That's right. A5.
Yeah.
Written on all sides, and the
That.
basic regulations were there. And at the bottom of the last page, it said not everything must be within the spirit of the regulations. Now you couldn't put that nowadays
Well, no, it'd be.
because the organizers would be in court.
Yeah.
Somebody would be taking it too seriously. I mean, it all went wrong when people started putting plastic floors down before they put their tent up, before they put their toolboxes in, and they put their cars in there.
Yeah.
When
Right.
I started
Protected.
admiring motor racing, as I said, I lived 2 miles away from Brands Hatch. I used to cycle up to Brands Hatch when the Grand Prix was on and the testing beforehand. And I'd cycle around the paddock, stepping over bits of Ferrari Formula One, where they had a Formula One car all over the tarmac, all in bits.
Yeah.
No marquee. That
Yeah.
was Formula One. Formula One in those days would look so amateurish now.
Yeah.
Now everybody has to spend a decent racing budget just on appearances.
Yeah. Just on the big pop-up things that go up.
Because the guy next door's got the same, the guys next door's got the same.
And it
It's
has
all
to
got a
be.
little bit out of hand.
Yeah. And it
But
has to
there are
look good
certain
for all the
classes out
commercial.
there that are refreshingly simple and cheap.
Yeah.
And but they're not the heralded ones.
No. No.
They are usually the most competitive.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you were just saying about the minis. I've just seen a comment actually from like Henry Howarth. Hello, Henry. He's racing in the JCW Sport this year, and I know that he likes that kind of relatively basic kind of side of things and things like that. But yes, thank you for tuning in, Henry, and well done this year, rookie champion, which is great. So well done, Tim. But yes, it's just I mean, obviously I wasn't around, but I've seen all the pictures and everything from just F1 cars out in the open behind a behind a garage or whatever it might be at a circuit with, as you say, just stuff everywhere. And it just looks better. It doesn't look so clinical and polished and all that kind of stuff. It's just
but if you want that, you can go to a hot rod meeting or something like that. And no, I mean, it's all with the illusion that these people are going to get sponsors. It makes me laugh when you go to a race meeting. I mean, before I just been watching a bit of British GTs on telly by accident. I for some reason I thought it was Friday today. I turned on the TV and thinking I'd watched the Grand Prix qualifying, and there was British GTs on.
Yes, right.
Yeah, but they're all dressed up. All the mechanics have got all the sponsors. All the the drivers have got all the stuff, and they've got headphones with sponsors' names on them. But there's no one watching it. I mean, all they're doing is playing to themselves. It's yeah. I mean, this is why we're doing the Porsche Sprint Trophy or Challenge, or whatever it's called, with Amy. To me, it's the only justifiable, or it's one of the most justifiable motorsport championships in terms of coverage for a sponsor. It's high enough profile. You've got BTCC crowds. You've got at least one race televised.
Yeah.
And it's a quarter of the price, or maybe a third of the price of doing the British Touring Car Championship. But at least you can tell. You can tell this. Say, well, what's the car again? I say, it's a Porsche, as opposed to the guy who's after 3 times as much to do touring cars. Is eventually the guy's going to say, okay, touring car. So what car are you driving? It's a Vauxhall Astra. Maybe it doesn't have the ring of the Porsche thing.
Yeah.
So
easier sell maybe.
But other than that, I motor racing is just too expensive for someone like myself.
Yeah.
If I was starting again to get into it, I could never have got into it now on what I was doing.
And that's the issue, isn't it? That we're seeing, especially with BTCC and things like that. It's we've got drivers aren't completing a full season for financial reasons, but I could touch on that a little bit later on. Talk about like various championships and whatnot. You mentioned one earlier on, the like Mini 850 or the Mini 7 Championship, which brought you your first title, I believe. Your first championship. Was it 79? You won the championship that year. I mean, obviously you just got into it because you love the whole. Well, you just loved everything about it, the mechanics and the buzz and all that kind of a thing. But winning a first championship, that must be a bit of a confidence booster and a bit of a, oh crikey, I'm actually quite good at this.
Yeah. I started the year before. I did half a season the year before and finished 10th in the championship. And there was a journalist called Jeffrey Parrish that did the write-ups for everything. And I remember the end of, I mean, I've got it in a scrapbook somewhere. I remember after my first season, he said, and Patrick Watts, number 10, no doubt by the end of next year, he'll just remove the 0 because this guy is win at all costs. He will win the championship next year. And sure enough, I did. In fact, I think I won a record of 9 out of 12 races.
Wow.
I mean, that was tremendous fun racing, all on a very small budget. But I will say that in the second year, I did have a Richard Longman engine. A friend of my dad said, Patrick, if you're going to do this seriously, you need a decent engine. So he bought me a Richard Longman engine, which got me in with Richard Longman, who has been a friend since, and he is my reason I won that championship. And together we went on to do the 1275 GT championship the following year, which I came second into the late Steve Harris, basically because he had me off into a wall too many times, and he beat me by a point. And when I confronted him, I was still a naive sort of like 19, 20-year-old. And I'd stomp up to him in the paddock afterwards, after he'd knocked me off for the second time in the season, losing me lots of points, and he went on to win. I said, Steve, you bloody knocked me off. He said, Patrick, as I see it, he's a West Country man, as I see it, Patrick, I won and you lost. And then you'd turn around and walk off. But I was rather a shy 19-year-old, so that was it. Okay, fair enough. I walked away thinking, yep, he won, I lost. But that was with Richard Longman. And then we did the Metro Challenge. That's with the Longman engine. And I came second to Steve Soper in that. Basically, I didn't get my car developed in time.
Right.
Funny old things to develop because they had hydrogas suspension. I remember at the first race testing the first time I drove the car in qualifying for Silverstone, I'm going around, the car's leaning over like a 2CV around the corners. And I can see in my mirrors, there's a car coming up behind me. And it looks like a Formula 3 car around the corners. It's just flat on the ground and going twice as quick as me. Well, that was the highly developed Steve Soper Metro.
Right.
So it took 3 or 4 races to realize, actually, what you do is take all the hydrogas out and run it on bump stops. So we soon sorted that out and had it running on bump stops and beat Steve quite a few times.
It is always quite nice because Steve knew his way around a car, didn't he? And
yeah,
nice
he
to be
overdrove most of the time, but I think he learned afterwards. He's done a little bit since.
Yeah, one or two. One
Yeah.
or two bits and pieces he's done. Not too bad. But but again, a good guy to sort of have in close proximity to try and pick things up from, whether it be on driving or the mechanics of it or anything like that.
Oh, we're both as naive as each other then. He was driving the Radborn X19 or something or other,
Right.
Fiat X19. So he was quite experienced. But the big difference between Steve and me was the fact that I was doing it all myself and planning everything myself, coaching myself, motivating myself, and choosing the direction myself. Whereas Steve and most of the other people I've ever raced against have got mentors.
Yeah.
And I never found a mentor. I think I lived in the wrong part of the world, down in Kent, not North London or near Silverstone.
Yeah.
My dad never competed. I didn't have anybody to advise me, so I was very naive, and this carried on all my life, really, up until recently.
Yeah.
I'm not naive anymore.
Sure. But again, like a good grounding and some good wins and good results and things like that, which help, of course. And I'm just sort of, so you got that Titan 79, you went through various series that you've touched on through the early 80s. But I know that there's a lot of people in the comments asking about the BTCC. And you first went in 83, didn't you? 83 with Roger Dowson engineering.
Yeah, with Mazda.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I mean, had you had your eyes set on the BTCC or the British Saloon Car Championship, whatever it was in 1983. Had you had your sights on it, or was it always, was it something that you were aiming for, or was it just something that kind of came together?
You mean 93?
Sorry, no, back in because you did some bits back.
83. I went from the Metro Challenge, and then Roger, what's his name, John Davenport, came up to me after I finished second to Dave Carvel in the Metro Challenge, but he picked me to be a works driver for Austin Rover Group for 83 and 84 in the Metro Turbos with, first of all, with Tony Pond.
Yes.
And the second year with Robin Brundle.
Yes.
Martin had a few goes in the car.
He had one. I saw it. It said that he had one go on it, Martin. Yeah.
Yeah. But then his brother got the drive. Nothing like a bit of nepotism, is there really? But he made me look good. And then famously, Austin Rover Group pulled out of the British Touring Car Championship because of the ruckus with the Tom Walkinshaw Rovers.
Was that Frank Sittner having a word?
BMW Frank Sittner protested them, and and it was going to go to court, and so Austin Rover Group threw their toys out the pram and pulled out the championship just when I was leading it. With the Metro Turbo.
Perfect.
So the following year was the first round. No, the following next year I had to go in Julian May's Essex Motorsport X19 or RS 1600.
Yes,
the RS 1600. Yeah. But it was a bog standard car. It was the only place I did any good, which I think was probably third or fourth or fifth, was Thruxton. But nevertheless, it was frustrating driving that car. It was just so slow.
Yeah.
I had a few goes in a few other things. I had to go in a TVR Tuscan,
nice.
A Porsche, and picked those up pretty quick. But then was it 88 when the Honda CRX Championship came out?
Absolutely loved that. I remember seeing it on telly and thinking I saw a Honda CRX down the road from me. I was like, I haven't seen one in years.
No, they don't look so attractive nowadays, do they?
No, I remember thinking that looks incredible, and then I saw it.
They look good in their time, but they look
they look a bit basic now, don't they?
But that came about because basically it was a one-make championship sponsored by Honda, and a lot of the cars were supported by Honda dealers.
Right.
And so I was approached by a couple of dealers. One was local to, Edenbridge Honda, which is Peter Briggs. He approached me, but not before I'd already agreed to drive for a guy in the Medway towns, a dealership there.
Okay.
And then Richard Asquith, who prepped the cars, to develop the cars for Honda, he prepared the car. He did a few cars, and that was it. But that was a funny old situation because it was a who's who of one-make champions.
Right.
Everybody from Barry Williams to David Leslie to Paul Warwick to Dave Loudon, Paul Taft. It just went on and on. All one-make. Andy Ackley, who was Brands Hatch champion Formula Ford. Tim Lee Davey, Formula Ford champion of Brands. All these people signed up to it because you could win about £1,000 every race.
Yeah.
With fastest lap, winning, pole position, you could win £1,000 a race, and you're supported invariably, hopefully, by a Honda dealer. So I did that championship. I remember sitting on the grid. First time I drove the car, everybody else had tested, but my car was late. So first time I drove it was in qualifying, and I qualified 6th, which I was quite happy with, given the quality of the field.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there on the grid, and almost fell asleep on the grid. I remember I had no adrenaline pumping around, thinking if I finish sixth, that will be, I'll be happy with sixth amongst this lot,
Yeah.
But I won the race, and that's when you go to the next race, and you can only do worse.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd loved it. So, but I won the second race as well, and in fact, I won the championship. But every race, you could never do any better. You could only
Right.
do worse. So
Right.
you try to put it on pole, you try to win the race, try to get fastest lap, and and I'll tell you what, a lesson to all these one make championships now, that car never was scratched. That never had a mark on it. There was no body repairs, no scratches, no dents.
Clean.
The quality of the field up front was such that people didn't go knocking into each other all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's this whole.
They would have had to catch me to hit me anyhow.
Yeah. But there's this whole rubbing his racing thing that people wheel out to basically excuse bad driving standards. In my book, there's only 1-2 series where rubbing his racing is a thing, and that's NASCAR, where it is allowed, and in the Legend series.
Oh
And
no,
the
I
rest
think
of it,
touring cars, it's good to see a bit of rubbing.
yes, but a lot of the time it goes a bit too far sometimes. But it's part of it. It's part of the excitement. But yeah, people moan about it costing too much and then go slamming into each other.
Yeah.
Which isn't great. But
then the
obviously,
following year,
yes,
I was meant to drive in the production saloon car championship for Honda. So graduating, I was going to be a works driver for them. They were going to pay me. They came up with a car.
Was this for 89?
This was 89.
Yeah. Okay.
And they came up with the VTEC Civic.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
And I took it to Brands Hatch, qualified on pole. The car was mega, but never got to race it again. Because in the regulations, it says that the cars must be available in the UK.
Ah, right. Was it like Japan only or something? Or?
And it was a Japan only.
Right.
So Honda went round all the dealers and said, there's an optional extra, by the way. You can have a VTEC Honda Civic if you order one. So all the dealers were primed if they had a phone call to say, yes, sir, you can get a VTEC. It's an optional extra, which made it eligible.
Right.
But Volkswagen and the competitors phoned all these dealers who had forgotten or spoke to the wrong person. So the car was deemed illegal, so it never got to drive it. I got to do the tour of Britain with Robbie Head, and in a Honda Prelude, and that was it for the year, really. Apart from one race at Alton Park, where a driver, Caroline Hoy, she had run out of money in her pink Honda.
Okay.
And Honda CRX. So Mardi Gras Racing got me to drive it.
Nice.
And I put it on pole, led the race, and as I will always remind Mardi Gras when I see them, it then ran out of petrol.
Oh.
It had Paul Taft up my chuff into Druids on the last lap, and Paul Taft is quick. He's a good driver. In the Metro Turbo, in the Metro Challenge, it was me, Steve Soper, or Paul Taft. We were the 3 miles up front of everybody. So I had Paul Taft up my chuff into Druids on the last lap, and it coughs enough for him to get alongside me and beat me into Lodge and win the race. He'll always remind me of that nowadays.
Wow.
He said, "Oh, I had you. You didn't run out of petrol. I had you." He said, "I planned that move." And the following year, I did the Honda CRXs again.
Yeah,
this time with Edenbridge, and with Andy Ackley as my teammate, and also with Lisa Thackwell,
Ah, okay.
who is
Sister of
now Lisa Brabham.
Lisa Brabham, yes.
Yeah, lovely Lisa.
Married to David. The equally lovely for other reasons, David.
Equally lovely David, yeah.
Yes. Yes. Wow.
And so I won that championship again.
Yeah.
But at the start of the year, they had a Mazda MX-5 factory back championship.
Yes.
And I was asked to do that. And obviously I said, no, I'm doing the Honda CRX championship. But when looking at the dates, none of them clashed.
Oh, okay.
None of them clashed.
A dual calendar.
So I did the Honda CRX championship and the Mazda MX championship that year and won them both.
Yes, it was a good year. I've got it on
which goes on to a previous question you asked me on your bit of paper. How did you get in with Roger Dowson?
Yes.
How did you get in with Mazda? Well, by winning the MX-5 championship, that got me in with Mazda.
Right.
Got in with Roger Dowson by obviously driving for him in the Works Metro Turbos.
Prior, yeah.
Also, in '91, I did the SO Saloon Car Championship for Peugeot.
Yes.
That was a car which Richard Longman was asked to drive in the SO Saloon Car Championship. He said, no, get Patrick to drive it. He will just share it on the 2 long distance races. And that was sponsored by Shell.
Right.
So I'm in with Mazda, I'm in with Roger Dowson, and I won the SO Saloon Car Championship, ironically, for Shell. And so the following year, the British Touring Car Championship 2-litre rules come out.
Yes.
The TOCA rules and all that. And I was quite an obvious choice to drive the Mazda.
Right. Okay, so it all links.
The problem was the car was rubbish. That was the 323.
Yes.
And it was it didn't matter how good the chassis was, the engine just didn't have any power.
It didn't have enough. Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, I want to come on to the BTCC in a minute because I know that's what a lot of people have tuned in to hear about, and we're going to have a bit of a dive into it. I've just seen a couple of bits that have come in on the comments though, very quickly. I think this is going back to the Honda CRX challenge when you said there were no scratches and bumps on the car. This is a very cheeky comment from Keith Mail. Hello, Keith. He says you obviously never raced against Jason Plato or certain others in that category then. I say
they weren't born.
I know they were a bit later, yeah, further down the line, 10 years later. Yeah, fair enough. But yes, but there weren't so many drivers of that category. And Keith has also said, was that Mike Thackwell's sister, Lisa? Yes, it was. That is sister of Mike. So right. you presume right. I've just seen a comment here from Marion Speed. Hello, Marion. A couple of comments about Roger Dowson. She just said Roger Dowson's team, always a great bunch, lots of jokes on the grid. And Listerine Dragon and St. George the Dragon. And Listerine Dragon and St. George on the grid at Donington. Was that Dowson? Yeah, was that Dowson? Yeah, it was.
No,
or was that was
Vic Lee.
That was Vic Lee, and was like Graham Good got involved with Vic Lee and did all that kind of pink dragon stuff. But anyway,
was it Vic Lee? No, the Listerine car was.
Oh no, was it Andy? Was it Andy on Broadspeed, or was it? I can't remember. Because I know Graham Good.
Sierra Cosworth.
Yeah, the RS 500. It was Graham Good and
maybe Graham Good, yeah.
Mike Newman and all those guys, weren't they? They were involved. I'm sure Graham was involved with Broadspeed with Andy Rouse. I could be wrong. I don't know. My brain's fried. It's been a long day. There's a lot to get through. But no, all fantastic. So just want to come on to the BTCC. I mean, obviously everything had aligned, as you said, with Shell and Mazda and Roger Dowson and all that kind of stuff, and BTCC was the choice. I mean, did you know that the car wasn't going to be great that first year just because of who you were and who you're up against and all that kind of a thing in '92?
No, I mean the car just didn't have the power. That's all.
Yeah. Sure.
Whereas in the second year, they got the Casidos with the V6 engine, and that
Love
did
that
have
car.
the power.
Yeah.
I don't know how much power it had. It was on a limited budget. That's why it was only a one-car team, whereas all the
Yes.
other cars were two-car teams. And it was financed by Mazda UK, not Mazda Japan.
Right.
So we got no assistance. I remember going to Roger Dowson's workshop when he had the shell there of the Casidos, and he had a wheel mounted on a broomstick, and he was putting it in the arch to see where it looked right under the arch, and then fabricating the suspension around the wheel held on with a broomstick.
Okay.
But he knew what he was doing. That was a good handling car.
Yeah.
It was a bit delicate. He didn't like me driving over curbs with it because it used to damage the underside. I said, Roger, if you go out there, out the back at Knockhill or whatever, you'll see everybody's going across the curbs. The only way you can get a time is by driving across the curbs. He said, all right, then drive across the curbs. And then I had it on pole position until the last lap. And then Julian Bailey put it on pole. But at least I was on the front row of the grid, but led the race for a few laps in the Casidos. But so it wasn't the opposition I was worried about. If you give me the power, I can beat or at least stay with the best of them. I'm not overawed by any other driver.
No, absolutely right. Absolutely.
I would be nowadays, though.
Yeah,
I think I'd be worried about racing against Amy, which I'm about to do actually this coming weekend.
We're going to touch on that a bit more on that in a minute.
In an MGB at Silverstone, we're sharing a car.
We need to talk about that in a little while.
Yeah,
that sounds great. I mean, just clearly, you mentioned about Julian Bailey. I have heard that he's not in the very best of health at the moment. He's in a bad way. So obviously,
get well, Julian.
Yeah, we send our best wishes to Julian. He's not in a good way, and obviously he did F1 with Tyrrell and touring cars and lots of things. So yeah, we wish him well, of course. Right, there's a lot of comments coming in about 93. I want to talk about 1993 because I mean you had a good few little decent results. I think in 92, 5th at Knockhill, only behind Harvey, Allen, Cleland, and Rouse. Not bad in the car that you had. 93 though, I think it's one of the two cars that people associate with you the most. I had loads of messages this week saying, "Can you ask who came up with the paint scheme and the color scheme for it, the old purple and yellow?" Because it looked awesome. It's one of the best looking touring cars ever.
Well, you wouldn't believe I've got the answer to that, but I only found the answer to that recently.
Right. Okay. Are you able to tell us?
A friend of Roger's knew Noel Evans.
Right. Okay.
And Noel Evans on his show was Mr. Blobby.
Noel's house party, Crinkly Bottom, and all that.
Crinkly Bottom, Noel's house party with the what do you call it again? The purple and yellow.
Oh, that Mr. Blobby guy.
Mr. Blobby, that's it, Mr. Blobby.
Blinking annoying he was.
I never remember seeing it, but I was told about Mr. Blobby, so he was going to sponsor the car. So they designed it all up as a Mr. Blobby Noel's house party car.
Right.
But then the BBC or whoever didn't want to do it, but the colour was set. So that's why it looked like Mr. Blobby.
That is fantastic. And it comes back to a very early question from my good friend Oliver Taylor, who did ask, was Crinkly Bottom racing a thing? And there you go.
I learnt that after the endurance rally I did in India.
Early this year. Wow.
And I went to the Maldives afterwards, just for a couple of days because it's very nearby where we ended the rally. Nipped over there for 4 or 5 days and bumped into Noel Evans's agent.
Wow.
Who
all the places.
Guy called John Miles, Noel's agent,
Wow,
who
that's
was
fantastic.
also agent for most of the Radio 1 DJs when they left Radio Caroline and Radio Luxembourg, and also the I've got a brand new combine harvester.
Oh yes, yes.
He was, yeah.
Was that the word? Was that
The
the word?
Wurzels,
Word.
and yeah.
Why do I know that? Oh god, that's amazing. So there you go. It was the Mr. Blobby crinkly bottom car. I know the
It
comments.
was.
Everyone's saying Mr. Blobby and Blobby, Blobby, Blobby. Yes. Hello, folks. We can see you. I mean, it was a brilliant looking car. I absolutely loved it.
Well, it was at Brands Hatch at the Brands Hatch Super Touring Power
Yes.
meeting. The guy brought it over from, can't remember his name, but the guy brought it over from New Zealand to race it. Just in that, all the way from New Zealand to race it at Brands Hatch, and he did very well in that. And it looked fantastic. Still in the original paint.
I mean, and it was great to see, the car back and everything. I did see someone sent me a message. I'm just going to have a very quick look here. A chap called Russell Bradley, who I spoke with at Brands Hatch. He said he was one of the mechanics on the car. I think for the Super Touring Power, and he just said, yeah. And he asked me to ask you what was it like being reunited with the car? It must have been very nice.
It was. It was lovely to see it. It
Yeah.
was lovely to see it.
Yeah, fantastic.
And,
and the question I always like to ask about a car that looks great: was it as good to drive? Given the capabilities of the car as it looked, because I loved the look of the car, and on its day, it had its moments, didn't it?
a car that wins races is great to drive. Put that same car against more competitive cars, and it's rubbish all of a sudden.
It's sure.
Racing cars are all the same, and it's rubbish when it does badly. It's a great car when it's good. Yeah. It's a tool for the job, basically. Are touring cars fun to drive? Yeah, they are. They are fun to drive. You've got to be very precise with them to be quick, and it's the difference between. I say to people, it's like a top musician trying to do a fantastic violin solo on a schoolboy's violin,
sure,
as opposed to a Stradivarius.
Right.
Yeah. You jump into a rubbish car like these historic cars. It doesn't matter what you do to the steering wheel; it's going to go wherever it's going to go. Whereas as it gets nearer towards a racing car, it does exactly what you're doing, and insofar as it almost does what you're thinking before you've even turned the steering wheel.
Sure.
The brakes are fantastic. It steers properly. You can balance it out on the adjustable anti-roll bars as the race goes on, as the fuel load changes and the tires change. Front tires always go off first on a front-wheel drive car, so you start stiffening the rear bar to put a bit more weight on the outside front, and it just keeps the balance all the way through if you've got enough adjustability.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, absolutely right. Just to come back to '93, I just had a quick look at the results before we came on and everything. I mean, that year you took obviously 6th at Silverstone earlier on to start. Nice little shot in the arm. Pole at Snetterton, which I remember very, very well. And someone has commented. Just have a quick scroll here. Diffan Evans, hello mate. He said, 1993 famous for Patrick's pole. And who else said about who was there? Stuart Branch, hello Stuart. He was there he was at Snetterton at the bomb hole for BTCC qualifying in '93. That Mazda shouldn't have been on pole, but it was one of the best laps of the Super Touring era.
Hey,
happy day. Have that.
It must have been. Thanks, Stuart.
Yeah, I mean, I think I mean this in the nicest possible way. I think we were all surprised that, given that you're up against the BMWs, was it Soper and was it Winkelhock were there and other guys on the grid, and you stuck it on pole, and everyone was like, "This is fantastic." I mean, that must have felt like a hell of a lap.
again, you don't know until you go in the pits
Yeah.
and you say, "How did I do?" They say, "You're on pole." Oh fuck! What happened to everybody else? Did they
Really?
have problems?
Yeah.
But
I mean,
unfortunately, I ended up in the carrot field on the outside of the first corner on the first lap.
yes. I was doing like research and stuff. I always do a bit of research and watch a bit of videos and stuff like that. And that one did come up. Was it a certain Mr. Soap around the outside? You were kind of bumped you into a bit
It
of
wasn't
oversteer
really
or
his fault. I mean,
something? Yeah,
I
he was
did
there.
a good start. The BMW is going to do a slightly better start because it's rear wheel drive. He went round the outside, so we were side by side through Rich's, and I had a bit of oversteer, um, and I couldn't put opposite lock on because I was pressed against his door.
Right.
I
Yeah.
needed a bit more track. I needed to
Fair.
steer out of the slide, but he was in the way. So rather than, I mean, I could have had him off, but basically, yeah, I was pushing against him, and
Right.
as he was sort of closing my line off, and I had a little bit of oversteer, and I couldn't get out of it. Couldn't
Yeah.
get out of it.
You kind of went right and quickly left. And
Naivety,
then,
really, or wrong place, wrong time, or
yeah.
racing incident. But actually, all hell let loose off the start and finish line. A lot of cars got eliminated. The race was stopped anyhow
Yeah.
because of a big crash off the start line.
There's all kinds of carnage going on, wasn't there? I do
But
remember that.
unfortunately, my car had a puncture and I couldn't get it back to the pits. Otherwise,
Okay.
it could have got it back. And yeah, never mind.
Yeah. Shame that one. Because as I say, it was nice to see you and the car up on pole and everything. One thing I always do remember about that year as well. I think it was a couple of rounds later up at Donington. You came fourth, I think. And I remember it just being a really good race to watch. I think it was it Winkelhock and Allen and Soper were ahead of you, and you were up in fourth. I mean, it was good giving it some stick to those guys as well. I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess going around Donington in that era must have been awesome as well. I mean, very very cool. But but yeah, I mean, it just felt like, and I do remember that season. There was a lot of retirements and mechanical stuff and a few spins and bits and pieces. And but then again, you took fourth twice, I think, at Knock Hill. So obviously, when there was pace in the car, and obviously when it got to the finish, it was obviously a decent car to drive and a competitive one as well when it wanted to
Yeah,
be.
I mean, at Knockhill, as I said, I was on the front row of the grid and led
Mm,
for a few laps. But the difference between a good front-wheel drive car, quick in over one lap, and one that's good over a race is the geometry on the car and the subtleties.
mm,
So even though I could go out on new tires and put a quick lap in, over the course of 5 or 6 laps, it would eat the front tires.
right, right,
And you see that in Formula One.
yeah,
Like they say, oh yeah, McLarens, they look after the tires better. The Ferraris eat the tires, this, that, and the other.
yeah,
And the Mazda would eat the front tires. Maybe it was a bit heavier at the front with that V6 or something like that.
yeah.
It would work over one lap,
Mm,
but over the course of quite a few laps, it would eat the front tires. They'd go off. You'd have an understeering car, and it would be slow.
yeah, sure. It's just one of those things. It's just the physics of racing and all that. 94, you switched over to Peugeot for what was quite a few years, wasn't it? 4 or 5 years. How did
Yeah.
the Peugeot switcheroo come about?
Well, basically, they knew I'd won the SO Saloon Car Championship for them, and that was when Des O'Dell was running it. So that was back
Okay.
in '91, and they were preparing those cars. And Des O'Dell took me into his office. He says, "Patrick," he said, "I've got some good news and some bad news." Because I was talking to him about the 2 Litre Championship. He said, the good news is we have secured a champion to drive the Peugeot next year. And the bad news is it's not you." So what they'd done is secured Rob Gravitt, and
Hello,
he
Rob.
thought that was great, you know. But Rob didn't really get on well with the Peugeot
Yeah, I spoke
or
to Rob.
front wheel drive or whatever, and so they had me back
Okay.
for a lot more money than Mazda were paying me.
Which helps.
So, which yeah, and it was a 2-car team, and Mazda didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, okay, they ran Matt Neal the next day, but Matt paid next year, and David Leslie, but I don't think they got paid. And that was the end of Mazda, really, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
But
I guess the car was.
yeah, it was good to be in with Peugeot. Um, that was the Shell car in '94,
Yeah.
and I think that was a French-built car,
Okay.
and that was competitive.
Yeah.
And I had a few podiums in that. The following year, I think the car was just as quick, but everybody else was quicker.
Yeah, seems to be. Just quickly, actually, before we get to 95, 94, we all know about the Alphas and the aero and the transmissions and all that kind of stuff. What's your take on that? I always ask people about the Alphas because obviously it's split. You know, a lot of fans say they were fantastic. Other people say they were a pain in the backside. Obviously they were winning, so I guess you weren't thrilled by them. But I mean, what was your take on it? Because it was all the homologation stuff, wasn't it?
Well, you know, it was incredible that, I mean, at that time or a bit later on, I think there were up to 9 manufacturers in the British Touring Car Championship. And the fact that an Italian manufacturer would put that much effort into the 2-litre Touring Car Championship speaks volumes for the formula.
Absolutely.
And so to homologate the car with aerodynamic tweaks, they had to build 25,000 of them.
Yes.
It had to be a production car, 4.2 meters or longer, 4-door. So not even BMW M3s qualified.
Right.
The 2-litre MT, they didn't qualify that because they didn't build enough of them.
Right. Okay.
So hence it was a 318 or something or other.
Yes.
Or the basis of a 318 as opposed to a basis of an M3 that BMW had. But Alfa Romeo went ahead and they put these aerodynamic tweaks on the front under tray, which they could obviously use for racing because it was there on the road car. All you had to do was, I think, remove 2 screws and pull a tray out the front, and you had a big splitter. And the big rear spoiler was in the boot.
Yes, I do remember the whole thing about them being in the boot.
Yeah, all you do
that kind of came to light later on, didn't it?
Yeah. Just take it out, put your golf clubs in there, and blue tack it onto your boot lid, and you have a touring car.
Yeah,
and
it worked.
But no one really knew how effective the aero was, apart from it had to give a bit of advantage because the Alphas were doing so well. Until the end of that year, where everybody was allowed to have homologated aero.
And it all leveled off.
All leveled off. So I remember we were at Silverstone and we were testing there to literally just test the aero. They'd come up with a package for the aero. So I went out, did a few laps, non-aero, and then they bolted on the aero. I went out again, and all of a sudden the car was easier to drive and quicker.
Right.
It was just more stable under braking. You know, these cars, probably 140 mile an hour at Silverstone, you know, the back's starting to lift off the ground.
Crikey.
You know, without a spoiler on the back, it's starting to get a bit light. Crikey. And hence you really fit when you're braking for slow, you are feeling it weaving quite a lot.
Yeah.
Because the car is a reverse wing basically with no aero. You put the spoiler on the back, and it doesn't give downforce, but it gets rid of the up force.
Right. It just
whereas the splitter on the front, which is basically a diffuser, that gives a little bit of downforce.
Right.
and I think instantly it was about a second and a half a lap quicker.
Wow.
Just by adding that on. So you can see that the Alfa Romeos had a bloody great advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the first half of the season, wasn't it? Definitely.
Yeah.
God. Yeah. Well, they got it right. To begin with, quickly on that season, you mentioned you got a couple of podiums. You got, I think, your first podium in the BTCC was that Silverstone, or was it? I can't remember where it was. I think it was Silverstone. It must have been nice to get up on the podium first full BTCC podium, especially at Silverstone as well. Must have been quite nice to just to tick that off.
Yeah.
Well,
not like winning though, is it?
Well, no. I mean, it's like a getting closer thing, isn't it? It's to be up there. But I mean,
it was cause for optimism with the team.
It was a pretty consistent year as well.
Yeah, but I've always said in all these seasons in the touring cars, if only we'd been 3 or 4 tenths of a second a lap quicker, we would have won the championship. So you aren't looking for much.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you come up with a tweak in that era, and you go testing. Oh, I found a tenth. I found 1.5 tenths. Brilliant. You go to the next race, and you'd be in exactly the same position on the grid, because everybody else had also found 1.5 tenths.
They'd found something.
Yeah, they'd all found something, and so you really end up with what you start with at the end of the year. An uncompetitive car.
Yeah, despite the gains. Just about 1995, you said it kind of gave cause for optimism and a bit of a boost for everyone after 94. I mean, from the outside looking in, it felt like a season that never quite got going, like an almost season. It was almost like you were nearly very, very competitive. Was that how it felt within the team?
It's. I don't think the team was as professional as it could have been.
Right. Okay.
I mean, this year, with Amy doing the Porsche Sprint Challenge with clean racing, I've actually learned that that lot are more professional than Peugeot ever were.
Right. Wow.
Whether things have changed in that sort of class of racing or not, I don't know. But I'm just thinking, bloody hell, if I got the assistants and the engineers that Clean Racing have got when I was in touring cars, we would have gone forward. So maybe we were missing out. Maybe I should imagine they were that professional in other teams.
Right.
Like, okay. I don't remember ever looking at data and being told about this, that, brake a bit later here, do this, that, the other. Let's try a different line. Let's try a different tweak, The data was there. Maybe not as easily accessible.
Sure.
But the data was there. But I don't remember ever having a lot of feedback on development of the car, development of the driver even.
Yeah.
So that's maybe where we lost out.
Yeah, and obviously had that been a thing that you guys could obviously then, as you said, you could have moved forward a bit quicker. For 96, I mean, was there kind of optimism with the new car coming in? Was it the 406, wasn't it? Came in, excuse me.
Oh, there's always optimism.
Yes, well, yes, it's the optimism, isn't it? And obviously you were going to be like a 2-car team. You had Tim Harvey coming in, who obviously, Tim Harvey knows his onions when it comes to touring cars, and former champion and all that kind of stuff. Peugeot Sport backing. I think, was it Total came on board as sponsors and stuff like that. I mean, it must have felt like things were going to have a bit of a step forward for that year.
Well, I remember going to the first race at Donington. I was number 1 driver. Tim was the new boy. He was number 2.
Yeah.
So we had the test car, which we'd only really tested at Silverstone in the damp and the frost. And I was given the option. They said, look, we've built a new car for Tim. Your new car won't be, or no, we've built a new car and we've got the test car for Donington. The other new car won't be ready. Do you want the new car or the test car? And I said, well, the new car won't have turned a wheel before Donington.
Sure.
Maybe it's best to have the test car as a known quantity. So I'll have the test car, but when will I get my new car? If that's the case, they said you have it for the second round. Okay, so I'll go for the test car. Tim can have the new car for the first round and he can iron out all the bugs. So we turn up for the first race, and I noticed that all the other drivers and mechanics have got suntans. Well, they've all been testing down at Portimao and places,
right.
been down to South Africa testing, whereas we turn up pale and white, and the car turning a wheel for the first time as far as Tim's concerned, and we've done a few laps around Silverstone in the test car. So, okay, I don't know how that race went, but come the second race, where's my new car? Oh, it's not ready yet. In fact, I didn't get the new car until 3/4 of the way through the season. But I found out in the meantime, it's actually 40 kilograms heavier than than the new car, because Peugeot had pressed some lightweight panels, a lightweight body shell. They'd slipped some thinner steel into the press over in France and made a lighter body shell, which was what the new cars were. The test car was just a road car converted. So it was 40 kilograms heavier. So I'm struggling to even keep up with Tim. You know, on occasions I'm sort of beating him, but he's 40 kilograms less weight in his car than me. So it was a bit of a struggle, but I couldn't say anything to anybody because we're not meant to have a lightweight body shell anyhow.
No, sure.
So I put up with that until I think it was Alton Park, like one race from the end. And yeah, so, but that car wasn't particularly good anyhow.
Yeah,
you know, it didn't it didn't have the geometry right on the front end somewhere, and they kept on coming up with different front uprights with different geometry. I remember they put an upright on it. We went testing at Alton Park. They put these new front uprights on. Yeah, this is going to be brilliant now. And I almost crashed on the first lap out. It just did not go around corners. It was, no, that didn't work. Yeah. Someone had got their slide rule upside down or something.
It was like trial and error, but lots of error. It was yeah.
But this was I think the demise of Peugeot. It was just slowly sliding downhill.
Yes.
With probably lack of budget.
Yeah. Which I'm
going to
come to it in just a second. I just want to say Keith Mail has just said something that it does say in my notes just there. That first race, it was a retirement in both races in '96. Yes, I've got here double retirement at Donington, worst possible start. Not a great start. And then I saw you took 8th and 10th at Brands, and then obviously the issues that you mentioned on. I mean, just to go over I think a lot of the fans thought it was going to be a very good season, just from the outside looking in, just because of everything that seemed to have aligned. But I've got you personally, you had 14 retirements, 2 did not start in 28 races. So that's 16 races down. There's only 12 that have, only 4 finishes in the top 10. Tim only got into the top 10 7 times. Yeah. I mean, it just the whole thing just seems like it was just a bit of a mess. I was going to say another word, but I was but it was a bit, and that must have been really frustrating. Just from the driver's point of view.
2 retirements.
You and Tim.
One at Thruxton, where I did a few laps. It was going well, and then the front brakes disappeared, and we'd had wet qualifying, I think, and they'd put tape over the brake ducts, but the race was dry,
right,
and they forgot to remove the brake ducts.
So I guess they were just cooked, were they?
So they got cooked. and he had injectors popping out. He had all sorts of things going wrong. I had a very lucky race at Thruxton where I finished fourth, I think, a third. Not Snetterton.
Yeah, Snetterton. I've got here.
Yeah. Where was I there? Was it third?
I have got fourth, third and fourth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Around there.
Well, that was basically it. Qualified in the normal position, sort of maybe just outside the top 10, but the heavens opened on the warm-up lap, and so everybody was allowed to go back in the pits and put wets on. Well, we all went round, put wets on, and by the time we'd got round to the start and finish line to start the race, the track was now drying. So instead of falling off in the grid, I was towards the back anyhow. I came in the pits and put slicks on and set off and had a great race and carved past a lot of people. David Bradman, thank you very much. I overtook him on the dry bit, but going down to the S's, which was a bit wet, I had to be a bit tentative through the S's. He rams me and spins me off the track into the mud, fills the rear wheels up with mud. So when I get going again, they're very out of balance. Overtook him, overtook a few other people, and finished, third or fourth, wasn't it? I think Radishish won. He was on pole, and he won, I think, on wets. So that was a bit of luck, really.
Yeah,
bit of luck.
And just thinking of all the circuits you don't want the brakes to get cooked on, Thruxton's probably up there, isn't it?
Well, a funny thing happened at Thruxton in the wet as well. We started off on 6 and it started to rain. And I start carving, I just overtaken Jason Plate, so in the Renault, overtaking someone else out the back. It's raining.
All the sounds gone.
I go to turn the wipers on, and in doing so, there's a wire that goes to the master switch that crosses over by the wiper switch, and I catch that with my glove.
Oh, bit of a crackle there, and we have lost Patrick, but he will be back. He will be back. Thank you for the comments and stuff, folks. I am seeing them. Andrew Bishop, I have just seen about the Bathurst. It was a good race. I'm going to write about that tomorrow. We're going to talk about Bathurst because obviously Patrick raced there. And Daniel Hawley, I have seen the question about will you be getting the 406 ready for next year's Classic Touring Car Championship. I'm going to ask that when Patrick returns. This is all very good, isn't it? Really, really great hearing from Patrick. Hopefully he'll be back soon. Obviously, there was a bit of a crackle on the mic there, and I'm sure he will be back very shortly. I'm just going to sit here and ramble for a while about what we've talked about. We are obviously covering everything, but yes, we've got his exploits at Bathurst to come through. To talk through. He's raced in the New Zealand touring cars and the Australian Super Touring Car Championship season. We're going to touch on that as well, and all the historic stuff and BTCC Masters, etc., etc. Defan, it's not me disappearing for once, Ridge. No, we've sorted out the internet at this end, seemingly. So hopefully I'll stay on as well. I'm just waiting for the little beep for when Patrick comes back online. Fingers crossed he can. So that'll be all good. Simon Steele, Citroen C1, is that fun to drive? We're going to talk to Patrick about that when he comes back, because obviously he raced that with Amy after she put it on its roof. Sorry, Amy. So yes, lots of things to get through, but there's loads of you tuning in. Thank you again for all the comments and the questions and everything. I'm just going to keep an eye on my phone here just to see if Patrick gives me a call or emails or something like that. No, it's all very good, isn't it? I do love hearing from these old school racers who have raced in super touring and all that kind of stuff, because we all love super touring. We've all got great memories of it, those of us who are old enough to remember it. But yeah, what a shame that Peugeot, it didn't really work out when it should have done. Hang on one second. I think Patrick is back. We've had a beep. I'm going to press a button. He is back.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
It ran out of battery.
Because you started to go a little bit crackly and then you vanished.
Where were we? We're at Thruxton.
Yeah, I mean, well, as people in the comments are saying, it's normally my internet that drops out. That happens sometimes. So yes,
right. I'm not
Teflon shoulders.
I can't find a plug anywhere. I'm gonna go and get a chair. Hold on.
Yeah, no, not a problem. Not a problem. Hey, there you go. See, this is the fun of doing it live. You don't get this on these sterilized, overproduced podcasts. Nothing wrong with that, of course. But
we're
you
now
don't
in the
get the fun
pantry.
and games. We don't get that. Is a heck of a chair. That's you've outdone me on the chair stakes. That's tremendous.
A bit narrow in the pantry.
Here we are. We are back.
Yeah, sit it on the microwave.
Happy day on the mic. Oh, crikey! Just don't press the button. You'll be dissolving into the microwave in a minute. But yes, we were at Thruxton.
Oh yeah. It's starting to rain. I'm chasing Jason Plato. I've just got past him. I think this is looking good. When I turn the engine off, approaching church, and I look down, and not only has it just turned the red master switch off, the red master switch is hanging, waving in the wind on the end of the Bowden cable. So I have one chance to grab it, put it in, and turn the engine off before church. If I do it half-heartedly, I won't do it. I can't look down, look up, look down, steer around. I've got to grab the nettle. I've got to grab the switch, put it in there, look what I'm doing, turn it on, and then I'll go through church, and it will all be okay. Well, it almost went to plan. I got it in the hole. I turned it on. I looked up, and I'm on the grass. I've missed church. I'm now going at 130 miles an hour across the grass towards the trees on the outside of church, where I parked, where the car found a parking place between the trees.
Right.
So, which was a bit of a shitter, really. I'd qualified about sixth position. Tim had qualified a bit further down, and was towards the back of the field. So he had nothing to lose. So he went in the pits for wets. Everybody else stayed on slicks. I was spectating from obviously the trees.
Yes.
And frustratingly for me, he got the second place. He got second place for Peugeot. Oh, in fact, did he win? He might have won.
I think he may well.
I think he even won. Because he was so far back, had nothing to lose, putting wets on. I say this with no vitriol in my mind.
It's all with smiles. It's all
bastard.
What could have been?
Yeah.
What could have been?
Yeah.
There's a very long comment came in there, and I've not been able to read it. I'll read that in a minute. Sorry, Simon Steele. Sorry about that. Very long. But yes, what could have been that year? I mean, I just want to talk about going into '97 though, because '96. I mean, obviously, it wasn't the best year, but had you? I mean, firstly, were you under contract for the for the second year, and or had you seen enough in the 406 that there was potential there for '97?
There was talk of Peugeot France going to do the DTM.
Yes,
and therefore getting assistance from France for '97, and I had offers from. I think it was that when Derek. I got offered. I got courted a little bit by Alfa Romeo to join them after Simone finished with them. But Derek Warwick got that drive with Alfa Romeo. And no, I stayed with Peugeot, and everything was looking optimistic. Then we had a meeting with MSD. They were going to subcontract it all out to MSD. And I remember going to a meeting with Mick Linford and MSD in Milton Keynes to for them to announce what they were doing. And arrogantly, they said, we've had offers from France. They will build the cars. They will do the engines and everything else. And the development will work with them, and they're going to go off and do the DTM, which they won with Laurent Aiello. And MSD said, we're going to not go with the French. We don't want to give them all our secrets. We are going to, hold on.
Oh.
We're going to go, we're not going to talk to the French. We know more than them. And that was the first nail in the coffin.
Right.
That was the first nail in the coffin.
The refusal of the...
Yeah.
Yes.
To
share.
I think they built beautiful cars. I say that because I've got one in my garage here. They built beautiful cars, but they obviously didn't have any money to run them properly. Again, employ the right engineers and spend time on that. It was closer. The 97, I think it was almost there. Again, 0.3 of a second would have made a difference. A funny thing happened at Brands Hatch testing. We were up there for a midweek all super touring test day on the Grand Prix circuit, and it was wet in the morning, and I was quickest. We had a new diff. It was a combi diff. It was a mixture between a plate diff and a silicon diff, and this was a new development which only I had. Tim didn't have one. So in testing, I was quickest from Winkelhock, I think, and a few other people. Oh, well, that's bloody good. And then come lunchtime, the track dried. So I said, that's glory over. We'll be back to our rightful position, sort of just inside the top 10 in the dry around the Grand Prix circuit. But no, sure enough, I stayed quickest all day. And I exchanged lap times with, it was Winkelhock. And we were, the Peugeot was the best car around there. And I remember talking to the engineer, Paul Risbridge, who I speak to occasionally. And we always say the same thing. What happened that day? Because his notes, what I told him, he said, "Look, how is the car?" I said, "It is neutral to oversteer everywhere. Apart from mid-druids, you brake for druids, and the transition between coming off the brakes and getting on the power, there's a slight amount of understeer there before you get back on the power. The diff grabs and pulls you through the corner. So mid-druids, it's starting to a little bit of understeer as you just transition from brakes to accelerator. And out the back, it just was on rails to a little bit of oversteer around it was absolutely fantastic. It felt fantastic. And the lap times, it was quickest car at Brands Hatch. And great, fantastic. So a week later, we're qualifying for the Grand Prix circuit round of the British Touring Car Championship. Out for qualifying, 9th, 10th quickest. It's just understeering everywhere, just understeer. And I say to the pits, I go back in, I said, it's just understeer everywhere. It won't turn. It's, what have you done to it? They said, well, we've rebuilt it exactly the same. We've taken it apart, put it back together again, exactly as it came, as it was. With all the faults, with all the balances, the corner weights. If they were slightly different, we've done it slightly differently. So I don't know what happened, and that is a mystery.
How strange!
And then they said, maybe you had Alain-Menus's tires, but we didn't just have one set of tires we were testing. We had wets. We had 2 sets of probably slicks. We had old tires. It was the quickest car out there.
So having gone from having like a smudge of understeer at Druids to having it everywhere in the same car, same setup,
felt like a proper car. And Tim tried that diff. He went testing at Snetterton that following week with a new diff as well. So I phoned up after. I said, "How did Tim get on? How was the new diff and all that?" They said, "Didn't notice any different. It wasn't any quicker." Oh, okay. But that was, it's a mystery. It's a mystery. It wasn't tires. It was just that they hit on, by mistake, they got the setup right that day.
Yeah. I mean, that must have been so frustrating knowing that that the car had it in it when it was set up.
Yeah.
Everything could align and it could go well, and then it just didn't again.
But I was out of Peugeot after 97, and then in 98 it was Radisich.
Well, yes,
and Tim.
Yeah.
I mean, Paul was basically in there because Alan Gow was his manager, and Alan Gow was obviously looking for a place for him. But for 99, the Tim's and Paul's car went out to Australia, and I was employed to go out there and race them in the Australian Touring Car Championship, run under an engineer by the name of Paul Grimm, and he made those cars work, and hence I sort of won a race and pole position and a couple of seconds in the 4 races I did in Australia. And the car was fantastic. And you had to say, well, how come this car wasn't quick last year? Because Rydell's Volvo was out there. Jim Richards was driving Rydell's Volvo.
That's when Ricard did his lap in 98.
Greg Murphy was in the Audis. These are all winning cars in the BTCC, exported out to Australia, driven by top drivers in Australia, and yet the Peugeot beats them all. So how come? God, Paul Grimm knew what the setup should be.
Yeah, he got it right. And just saying actually about Australia and you being out there. I mean, obviously it was 99. I want to touch it quickly. Was it 97? You went and did Bathurst, and I've got it in my notes here, and it's almost underlined saying that it proved that the car could do it. I think you qualified. Was it 5th? I think Tim qualified 3rd for Bathurst. So again, it just backs up the fact that when it's set up right, that car could have been, in that series, a world beater.
Yeah. Again, that was a testimony to the team. I mean,
yeah,
I shared with Paul Crompton, who had just won the North American Touring Car Championship, and he was a journalist as well. And his gear change he did that in a Honda, and the gear change was the opposite way around to the Peugeot. The Peugeot, where you pull it up the gears, on the Honda, you push it up through the gears.
Yeah.
And so he went out first in the car and basically blew the engine up. We had I did a few laps with a bent valve slowly just to see where the track went, and then they put the race engine in. They said, look, minimum number of laps. So by the time I qualified that 5th quickest, I'd only actually done, that's my 12th ever lap round Bathurst.
Wow.
And it was Paul Radisich who'd raced there many times before. And both Tim and I were both 2 seconds a lap quicker than Paul. But we had a top 10 shootout on the Sunday morning. And before that, you had 20 minutes of warm-up where you'd obviously go out and rehearse a 1-lap qualifier. The top 10 shootout was basically out the pits, 1 warm-up lap, quick lap and back in. That's all you're allowed to do. That's what the top 10 shootout is in Australia. Just 1 lap.
Yes.
So I discussed with the team. I said, look, we might not get the rear tires warm for this 1 quick lap. So what I'll do, I'll go for a slightly softer rear bar to get a bit more grip on the back. Tim, you go out with the same setup as we've been driving all along, and we'll go out and we'll rehearse that and see which one's the best setup. So we go out, do a few laps, come back in again, and compare notes. Said, okay, I was, like 5th or 6th quickest in the warm up, and it didn't seem too bad with the soft anti-roll bar. So how did Tim get on? Oh, Tim's quickest. Oh, brilliant. So that setup works then. Well, no, actually, he did one lap. He came back in and put the front tires on the rear and the rear tires on the front. So he got hot tires on the front, then went out and did 3 laps and went quickest. I said, how does that help our 1 lap qualifying? So what can we conclude from that? Nothing. I can't conclude whether I should have had the standard setup or the entry, and that's how the team worked all the way along. They
It was just all sort of mixed up. Right? Yeah. Irritating. But again, performance in the car. Just quickly on Bathurst itself, I asked this to everyone who's raced there, and obviously I've had, as I said, I've had Paul on here, I've had Murph on here, and they race Bathurst. They know it like the back of their hand. I mean, you only did it the once. Everyone says it's a fantastic circuit to spectate at, to visit, to drive. How did you find it?
No, it is a great circuit. I mean, it's a fast circuit. It's got a bit of Brands Hatch to it, and it's got a bit of Cadwell Park. So it's a cross between, I'd say a bit of Silverstone Grand Prix circuit and a bit of Cadwell Park. So you've got to change pace. You've got to go from flat out, balls out to accuracy and just keeping the momentum through the twiddly bits. This is from Skyline down to...
It's through the Dipper and Forest Elbow.
Elbow, from Skyline down to Forest Elbow. It's great. It's like a roller coaster. You just have to just tuck the cars into the corners, and it's a bit like skiing, really, just moving the weight around. No, it's good fun. But no, we arrived over there. We went and you drive from Sydney to Bathurst over the Blue Mountains because of the eucalyptus, looking out for koala bears, and you get to Bathurst, and you got your uniform on, you got your Peugeot shirt on, you go to a bar and they're all over you. Oh yeah, from Patrick Watson, we've been reading about you, and Tim Harvey, we've been reading about have a drink on us, and the whole atmosphere is motor racing. Fantastic. And then, like, after the race, the police were doing some demo laps, just driving their squad cars around, and luckily I noticed this. I might not have noticed it, but it came in useful noticing these guys going around, because after the race I was tear-assing up the road in a hurry to get back to the airport, and I was stopped by a policeman. You're speeding, wrong side of the road, tailgating, all sorts of things,
Everything.
And I said, hey, I was watching your demo laps. I said, you were really good. What was that line you took through the S's? He said, oh yeah. Did you see my laps? I said, yeah, it was great. I was racing out there. I picked up some tips because I've been racing. Oh, you were racing out there? Oh, right, okay, And on your way, sir. Yeah, no problem.
Fantastic.
Yeah. No, great atmosphere. Obviously, I've raced in Australia with Lakeside, Oran Park, Bathurst, and they're real enthusiasts over there. But there's nothing like the density of enthusiasm in the UK.
Absolutely,
in the UK, like Super Touring Power brings it to me. That was a special era when these old blokes came up to me. These old blokes come up for my autograph, and they say, "I used to watch you when I was a kid." Oh shit, really? I'm that much older than them. Yeah. But they're still into it. They're still into it.
Yeah. I mean, I found it on the page. If ever I post anything about super touring, super touring power, or a throwback to on this day, or even about, I put a post out on Facebook about you and your career and what you'd raced and a few pictures of the cars. The post just blows up. Everyone still loves the super touring era, don't they? And it's just that kind of. I think it's most people's favorite era.
I think it's the sound.
Yes.
What I was at, so where was I? Brands Hatch for the super touring 2 weeks ago when Amy was racing the Porsche. She's in the Porsche Sprint Challenge, and those cars sound a bit like road cars.
Yeah,
but
that's the only downside.
the Super Cup cars, the Cup cars, the GT3s, they've got different exhaust systems, same engines, but they've got different exhaust pipes, and they sound better. They've also got straight cut gears. So if you've ever heard those Cup cars driving around the paddock, it's just a cacophony of lovely noise. The exhaust nose, the clanging of the gears, they sound fantastic. And I thought, if they had electric motors, they'd sound like a Tesla, and it would be a total turn off. When these cars go around the track, I mean, even touring cars, they're not. It's not a nice noise, but it's loud. Modern touring cars.
It isn't the right noise,
but you hear a V6 or a straight four revving to 8,500, 9,000 RPM. It sounds good. It's all about the noise. Electric racing will never be a spectator sport. It just doesn't have you need the noise.
I mean, it's always things like Formula E and the ETCR. It was always good racing, but as you say, it didn't float the boat. It just, it kind of needs the extra thing.
Yeah.
It's like watching racing on mute. You can't do it.
No.
Not needed.
No.
But no, it was a fantastic era. Just quickly, we mentioned about 90 going in at the end of 97, things like that. And then deciding to hang up the racing gloves full time. Was it a difficult choice, or was it just a case of I've done what I want to do now?
Well, I had a business.
Because you've done bits and pieces since.
Yeah, I mean, I started my own company, Acorn Storage Equipment, when I started racing for Austin Rover Group in '84.
Okay.
And when the guy Russell ran that, sold stuff and ran that basically for me for 5 or 6 years, whilst I was super touring, where I was having the life of Raleigh, playing golf, keeping fit, doing PR stuff for the sponsors for Peugeot, etc. Yeah, and he was running that. And then I got asked to do the Australian tour and go out there in '99, which meant I went out there, and I think it was the February, March or whatever of that year. And then, like a month before, he was killed in a road accident. And we'd just taken on a big warehouse in Sittingbourne with a massive, great sort of £1 million mortgage, and no Russell to get the sales in. We were selling storage racking then. No Russell, so really I had no option but to come back from Australia.
Right.
Right. And get working on that. All things come to an end. I mean, I'm glad I did, because I didn't want to be a has-been old race driver. Having to be an instructor and scraping around trying to be somebody's manager and trying to like dwell on what you used to be. The older I get, the faster I was,
Sure, yeah.
I moved on, started a couple of two or three businesses, which has made more money than I would have earned out of motor racing. And set me up to enjoy motorsport. I have a few old cars, and I can afford to sponsor Amy to do Porsches, and You know, I've been working on my Allard today. I'm building,
Oh, nice.
yeah, various
Nice.
cars out there playing, and I'm just playing around. I couldn't have done that if I'd stayed in motorsport.
No, sure.
You
I mean,
know,
it was good to sort of be out
yeah.
of it once you'd
I was
finished.
never dedicated enough to be one of these guys that, you know, Alan McNish or professional race driver that makes good money out of motorsport, let alone Formula One. But, you know, I was climbing the wrong ladder to get into Formula One. Yes, I could have made a jump to sports cars, but by which time I think when I left touring cars, I was 40, 42.
Right.
So, you know, you're on your way downhill anyhow.
Yeah.
So that's it. You've peaked.
Yeah, so I guess it was the right time. I've just seen a comment actually from Keith Mayo. Hello again, Keith. He said, "Yeah, it's a very healthy way to view hanging up the racing gloves, although it was for a sad reason, obviously with the business partner and everything." But there's a couple of bits I want to touch on those that you've done since in the last sort of handful of years. 2004 BTCC Masters, loved that, all in the identical Seats and things like that. Shame it didn't really catch on, but obviously a certain Mr. Plato had other ideas as to your progress in the race.
Well, no,
it was.
I just won the. I hadn't raced for a few years, so I just won the British Historic Rally Championship in the Tiger.
Yes, you've been on.
So I made the joke that I was going to actually straight line the Craner curves and go straight across the grass.
Right.
Just jokingly. And so when you say all the cars were equal, well, if they were, it wouldn't have happened. But basically, I made a good start, and I was in like
equal looking.
Pardon?
They were equal looking.
They were equal looking.
We'll go with that.
And quite anonymous as well, because they're all grey, which was another good thing. Yeah. But no, I set off and I was in about third place, going down Craner curves on the through Redgate, just about to turn right to go down Craner curves. And I'd looked to my mirror. Yep, everybody's through Redgate. No one, you know, I've got a good line through there, so no one's going to catch me. You know, racing drivers, you can't see a mirror. Yep, everybody's where they should be. You know, I didn't realize Plato, he was obviously a work Seat driver at the time, had a little bit more boost than anybody else. So as I turn right into, he has come alongside me. We've touched wheels. He's caught me by surprise, and I'm sort of turning in, and he's there, and we touch wheels, and it spears me off to the left. So all this premonition and joking about going off down through the grass, well, I actually did.
Yes.
And rejoined at the bottom in about sort of 15th or 20th place. But then had a lot of fun catching up because everybody was fighting so much, I was able to catch them all up. And and if Tim's listening to this,
which he might be,
I will answer one of the questions he's not had answered. I caught a group of them, and it consisted of Tim, Roberto Ravaglia, and about 3 or 4 others. And they must have been slow through the chicane, because when they got to Redgate, all in a bunch, I was right behind them. So I thought, right, down the inside, whoever that is in front of me, use him as brakes, push him a little bit wide, and I could probably get all 6 of them at this corner.
Get the whole lot.
So down the inside, nestled up behind the guy who's on the inside, use him as brakes, push him a little bit wide, and I'd be through. Unfortunately, it was Ravaglia, and he's not too good in a front-wheel drive car because he turned sharp. We're meant to be turning right at Redgate. He turned sharp left. Took Tim out. So Tim and Ravaglia ended up in the gravel. And to this day, up until this day, they don't know how it happened. Because, as I said, all the cars were grey. They looked very anonymous, and no one knew who did it. And that got me up into contention for the win. And just catching Plato up when he ran wide at Old Hairpin.
Yes.
and almost did a Nigel Mansell and hit the bridge.
Yes.
But he kept it straight and kept his foot down. So I'm going through the left-hand kink by what used to be the bridge.
Going up the hill.
I'm going up there, and he is on the grass, bouncing his way towards me. If no one was behind me, I would have lifted off and let him take his place on the track. But I just kept to the far right, hoping he would stay on the left. I couldn't lift off because I had like a queue of like 6 cars behind me. So I thought, just keep my foot down. Anyhow, Jason comes straight off the grass, straight across the track, straight in front of me.
Yeah, into your front left, wasn't it?
And I go straight into the back of him. Oof. And I think, as Murray Walker said, go! Or something like that.
Something
that put us both out.
Yes.
But I really felt I could have won that race.
Yeah.
Even though, you know. But
not to be.
No, it just makes me regret that I didn't have the right car in touring cars in the first place. Sorry if I sound a bit bitter, but you know, you think back on these things,
not at all.
And
not at all. We all need the right car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe I didn't take it seriously enough.
Maybe
to get in with the right team.
Yeah, possibly. Who knows?
Anyhow, it was good. It was good. It was good.
Yeah, it was a good race, and shame it didn't really catch on or continue. Really,
I think there was too much damage.
Yes, I think it was very good for the PR for See It, but not good for the.
I think what it was, they had a one-make championship, and that was the end of the one-make championship. So that was a way of scrapping the cars, I think.
Yeah, just getting rid and writing off. Just a couple. I'm very aware of the time. There's a couple of bits that have come up. Where are we? A few little questions that we need to rattle through towards the end. Someone did mention about the Citroen C1, which you raced with Amy. That must you raced in one, didn't you? I believe. That must have been nerve-wracking, exciting, fun, edgy, all of the above.
It was good fun racing with Amy. It was her introduction into motorsport, and she's had about 3 rolls in Citroen C1s. But then again, who hasn't? You know, if you haven't rolled a C1, you're not trying.
She actually said it's not a racing car, but it does rebound quite well.
It does roll over. Yeah. I mean, we were testing at Brands Hatch prior to a week before the 24-hour race at Silverstone, and all I wanted to do was go up there and bed some tires in. So Amy and I go up there in the van with the C1 on the back of it to basically bed in tires. So I go out first, bed in the first set, and then it's her turn. But on the way up there, we'd discussed what the lap time was, because the year before I'd put the I'd put the Citroen C1 on pole. She said, "What's your pole time, Daddy?" And I said, "I don't know. I think it was a 103.9 or something." But actually, it wasn't. It was a 104.9. But anyhow, she's got 103.9 in her head, and she's going out there bedding the tires in, but also trying to go quick. And she's just done a 104.9. But she thinks she's a second off the pace. She thinks she's a second off the pace. I've just looked at the stopwatch. I said, "Fucking hell, that's my pole time from last year." She still thinks she's a second off the pace. It had been raining and the track had dried, but the curbs on the outside of paddock were still wet. So she hits that curb whilst trying too hard, gets a bit sideways, and immediately the car is cartwheeling down the road. Went over 6.5 times, which is a little bit worrying for Dad.
Well, I can imagine. Yes.
But you know, the car's upside down, and there's no movement. and you're looking. You can't run over there because it's 500 yards away from the back of the pits, and you're just watching from a distance. And then a marshal turns up, and she gets out. I said to her, why do you take so long to get out? She said, because we had a track timer on it and we're not allowed track timers. So I saw the marshal coming over. So I was trying to hide the track timer. So I had to loosen off the belt so I could reach forward, get the aim solo and hide it. So I stuck it underneath the seat. Well, all that before you undid your seatbelts. And yes, because you're not allowed to have track timers.
Good thinking.
I think that's the least of the problems. She wasn't worried about the car. She's worried about the track timer, which you're not allowed to have on track days. So there we go. Anyhow, she had a few roles, but it was great racing with her. And it was fantastic that we won the 3-hour race at Brands. Have you gone?
It's my turn for the internet to drop out. We almost made it through. Anyway, I'm back.
We changed position.
We swapped.
We swapped. Yeah, it was great to win that race.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, and also I'm obviously doing it with Amy as well, which fantastic.
Yeah. And Orlando Lindsay as well. They're three of us. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I've just seen in the comments, Mr. Michael Crease has tuned in. Hello, Creasy. I hope you're well. I hope you're well, mate. Obviously,
Hi there.
Good to see Michael. Good to catch up with you at Brandon Silverstone. Thank you for the bonus hospo at Silverstone. Thank you very much. And I hope you're well, Michael. Hope to catch up with you soon. Right, a few little bits. I have to. I've got loads of comments, but little bits I want to talk about. We've got to talk about like the historic racing, Goodwood, and some of the cars that you've driven. Because was it Jerry Marshall Trophy you drove in the Mazda in 15 and 16? The one I like, 2017, the Studebaker Golden Hawk. Studebaker are the proper underrated car over here. They had some beautiful looking machines, and that was one of them, wasn't it?
Yeah, Silverhawk actually.
Sorry, it was a Silverhawk. Sorry,
the Golden Hawk was supercharged.
Oh, okay.
Which would have been even quicker.
I stand corrected, but that was it just looks like it's a proper American car, and it just looks fantastic.
Well, I said to Julius Thurgood, Julius, I want to do your HRDC racing. What's the best car? I'm thinking about an MG Magnet, because in HRDC, which is the same rules as the Goodwood pre-60 class, you can use an engine of a bigger size up to 1966. So in other words, in something like a Austin A35, which only had a 1000cc engine as standard, you can use a Mini Cooper S engine, 1275. The MG Magnet, which was a 1500B series, you can use the MGB engine. The Austin Westminster, you can use the Austin Healey 3000 engine because they're all the same family. So with the Studebaker, which has got a 5-litre V8 as standard, they went bankrupt in 1966. And just before that, they closed down their engine plant. So the last few cars that they produced had Chevy engines in them.
Oh, okay.
So according to the regulations, you can put a Chevrolet engine in it.
Nice.
And it's got to really be an up to 1966 Chevrolet, but go for a 1968 one, and you get a modern small block Chevy.
Okay.
And but this was Julius's plan. It's his regulations. It's his party, so you play to his rules. So a Chevy in there, which I had built in America. I was over there in in America, in Florida, Daytona race parts. You can get a race engine over there for £8,000, £8,000, and but unfortunately, mildly tuned, not really high spec, but good enough. Unfortunately, it had roller rockers.
Right. Okay.
which I didn't realise because the engine hadn't run much. I hadn't even taken the rocker covers off. So, yeah. So basically, the car was plenty quick enough, but it was deemed illegal by Goodwood. And it was too fast anyhow. I mean, I gave it a run at Donington in the wet.
Yeah.
And Steve Soper was there driving my friend Malcolm Harrison's Volvo. And Steve was like 2 seconds quicker than anybody else in the wet round greasy Donington, apart from the Studebaker, which was a second again quicker than Steve. So ours on pole and Steve's alongside me. And this was the first run I ever had in the car. I mean, the car was quick enough to beat everything. That is no fun at all. So I sold it.
Okay.
I put it in a Silverstone auctions, and it went. An Indian bought it, so it's now in a museum in Delhi.
Oh wow!
And the guy didn't even want the spares. I offered him all the spares and the spare wheels and the spare chassis and the spare bits and pieces, suspension, because I built the car out of 2 cars, half Golden Hawk and half Silver Hawk.
Okay. Right.
The bottoms of the doors are Golden Hawk, the tops are Silver Hawk, but it was rotten. I've still got a chassis out in the field somewhere.
Oh wow!
Which was, if anybody wants a Studebaker Hawk chassis, they're the same. They were same for 10 years. They just changed the number of fins on the cars and things like that.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, the car was a bit of a bodge up, but it worked.
It was very cool. Very cool. And actually, someone's just said, Keith Mail again, is looking at the 2017 pics of that car. I love the pink bumpers, roof, and tail fins.
Oh no, that looked horrible. That was, yeah. No, it ended up just grey. It looked great. It looked great.
Yeah. Sorry, Keith.
Didn't look. In fact, I was told off by Julius Thurgood. He was not pleased with it at Goodwood being pink. The first time I went to Goodwood, it was literally finished. It was almost finished 4 days before Goodwood. So I literally bolted the bonnet on and got up there for the last half hour of testing 3 days before Goodwood. And just to give it a little run round, and hadn't even got the bonnet clips on it. Had to literally just bolt the bonnet down, drill holes through, bolt that down. No bumpers, no side glass, just a windscreen, and just give it a few laps. And on the third lap, the half shaft broke, and the wheel tucked under the rear of the car, jumped the car about 4 foot in the air at the back. Jeez. Mangled all the rear bodywork.
Oh.
So had to repair all that. So repaired that, had 2 nights of repairing all that and repainting the back end, and still had to put the glass in, still had to put all the bonnet clips in, still had to put all the chrome on, still had to put the bumpers on, and just got it ready for Goodwood when it blew a head gasket at Goodwood, which was totally down to the guy in Florida. No, the only bit I didn't do was the engine. But next time out was Donington against Steve, and the next time it was Goodwood for the revival with Carl Wendlinger.
Yes, Carl has been on here. Carl has a very dry sense of humour. I like him.
Oh, he's a lovely guy.
Yeah, he comes across as very straight and. But
he's a very grown up. He doesn't look like a race driver. He doesn't sound like a race driver to me. More like a bank manager or a businessman.
Yeah, he's very I kind of got that with Carl. But he lives in a very nice little village in Austria called Kufstein. It's beautiful place to live by the looks of it. But yeah,
Austria is.
Yeah,
I've got Rachel Reeves living there. That's why.
Yes. Very nice. I've just seen that Michael Crease wants to race in a C1. That feels like a discussion that needs to happen. That'd be cool. Go on, Creasy. Let's make it happen.
It's great fun. When you've got like 40 other cars on the grid, the same as yours, it's a race all of a sudden.
Yes, it makes it more fun, I guess, doesn't it?
Yeah,
makes it more fun.
An alternative to that is the Ford KAs.
Yes, the enduro car, isn't it? The enduro car thing that they
The
do.
Enduro Cup, they are more fun to drive. They've got a bit more grip.
Okay.
I think they're about the same speed down the straights, but they've got more grip. They haven't got the horrible ABS,
Okay. Right.
but
It's a
but
bit
they're
more.
not. But they've got a bit more grip. And I mean, what the C1s need is to lower them down a bit,
Right.
get the center of gravity down,
Yeah. To get
and
them
that
off
will give them a
stilts.
lot more grip. Put an anti-roll bar on the back, and it will be good for everybody. It'll be a very cheap mod, be good for everybody.
Yeah. I think we need to do a crowdfunding to get me and Creasy racing in a C1. Not sure.
Yeah,
I don't think Creasy would be up for racing with me. Absolutely not.
with your millions of followers, you must be making a fortune there, Richard.
I'm not making. I don't make money out of
I've
this.
heard about you influencers.
I'm not. I don't influence anyone. I don't know. I don't make not a penny out of this thing. It's just a hobby that's got out of hand. But let's get some money together. Let's get racing.
You'll be on Celebrity Traitor soon. We'll watch out for you.
We can knock the celebrity bit off. I'll just be a traitor. No problem. But no, we'll see. We'll see how we go. Okay, there's a couple of little bits I need to pick up. I want to talk about Paris to Peking that you did. Peking to Paris. Earlier this year, I was tracking you on Instagram. It looked like an absolute blast. It just looked like a hell of a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's basically something the wife wanted to do.
Oh, okay.
So I selected the Sunbeam Tiger and refettled that for long distance rallying as opposed to special stage rallying, which is basically not a lot of difference. I put a stroke 302 in there, so a 347 small block with bags of torque, 400 horsepower, but you don't need that. You just need the torque for getting through the sand. But I made the mistake of fitting fast electronic ignition, FAST electronic ignition, which came with no spares, and I couldn't get a hold of a spare module, and that failed after day one. And that started 37 days of nightmare of each. I had one, and I had to ditch that distributor, and I had an analog one. Fortunately, I put analog distributor in as spares, and that blew a condenser. And then you can't get hold of condensers in China because an old car to them is year 2000.
Yes, right. Okay, yeah.
Back in the 70s or 60s, when cars had condensers, they were all driving around on bicycles.
Yes.
And donkeys and carts. They don't have old cars there, and hence they don't have condensers. They make them for the rest of the world, but they don't make them for their own home market.
Have them for use.
So it was beg, borrow, steal condensers for all of that journey. And there must have been something else wrong as well, because it was eating coils and it was eating condensers.
Crikey.
Yeah, we tried dropping the voltage to the coil. We tried all sorts of things, and it just ate a coil every couple of thousand miles. A coil or a condenser would blow.
Oh, crikey.
But it all added to the fun.
Yeah, well, yes. If it's plain sailing, it's not as the stories.
We were in the middle of the Gobi Desert, and the rear shock absorbers punched their way through the rear bulkhead. And the car was bounding up and down, and we couldn't have gone another 100 yards without wrecking the car, breaking the springs. And so I stopped, and in the middle of the Gobi Desert, and Pam got out and she videoed all around us, and we are in the middle of nowhere, and there's not a sound to be heard.
Wow.
And I jacked the car up, took the shock absorbers off. One was actually bent because it had buckled itself up. The other one had just punched its way through the bulkhead, and there was a big hole in the bulkhead where that was the mounting point. So I cobbled together some spanners and then bolted spanners to the top of the shock absorber, and then lorry strapped them to a bit of the roll cage that pokes through there, and it gave enough damping that we could continue the next 150 k's to camp that night.
150 k's on our dampers.
we had another 150 k's. That was about 450 off-road k's day, and you see WRC taking off, and you got stage rallying, but the rough roads there, the wheels are going up and down, up and down, up and down. You get metal fatigue.
Wow.
Shock absorbers overheat, but my Öhlins, I got Öhlins dampers on it, and they were fine. It was the mountains. A lot of people had mountain problems, but going from China to Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Turkey, through to Greece, Italy, up through France. It was fantastic. You're seeing parts of the world you wouldn't do. The most fascinating part of the world was China.
I'm sure.
The people were lovely, and very hospitable. We have some nice Chinese over there.
Well, yeah.
A long way to go for Chinese, but
pricey.
Very nice, very nice. The roads are fantastic. They got some roads which are like racetracks up through the mountains, and no one on them. Motorways, 4-lane motorways, no one on them.
Brilliant.
Unbelievable.
That does sound.
Yeah.
I do remember on the Instagram though, you sitting at many passport controls for hours in the Azerbaijan area, Georgia, and all that, just endlessly waiting to get through.
Yeah, the worst passport control was going from Turkey into Greece.
Fair enough.
It was. Is it Aida? Is that the holiday for Muslims? Aida Day or something?
Oh yeah, Eid, yeah.
Eid, yeah, and they all go from Turkey into Greece for their holidays.
Right, so it was just everyone.
There's a big difference between Turkey and Greece.
Yes.
Same latitude, same mountains, same soil, but totally different.
Yeah.
Cities.
It's been.
As soon as you get into Greece, you feel like you're home. You've got resorts, you've got umbrellas, you've got bistros, you can stop by the side of the road under an umbrella and have a coffee. None of that appeared in Turkey.
Okay, right.
Anyhow, that was the worst customs.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, cool adventure though, and it's great to follow.
And the wife and I are still speaking,
which is probably the biggest win of the lot, I think.
and then we went on and we did the Indian Rally this year. That was last year, and then this year we did 6,000k. Did the Pearl of India Rally, which was more of a tour. It was a regularity rally as opposed to a speed rally,
right?
Like the Paris to Peking, and that was also very interesting. And next year we are doing the Gaucho Rally, South America. We're doing 6 countries in South America, from Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay. Was it Brazil maybe.
Brazil.
Don't know. I'll just go where the navigator tells me.
Yeah. Rallying through South America. And
then we're doing the Peking to Paris Rally again after that.
Fantastic! So plenty of good stuff and adventures coming up. Love that.
Yeah,
love that. Right, I've got to come to a few questions, because we always do these little general fun questions at the end, and there's a few that have come in on the comments which I do need to pick up here. This is a while ago, but Diffan Evans, hello. He says, if Patrick could have driven another make of car during the super touring era, which other make of car would it have been? Ooh, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah,
that's a good question.
I think it depends which year. Obviously, in '95, I would have picked the Alpha. Hindsight is a great thing, isn't it?
And it's always 2020, isn't it?
Yeah. Obviously the Mondeos were the cars that finished off.
Yes.
I think the Audis would have been a bit boring. Biela got more out of them than Bincliffe did.
Yeah. Biela was
they had the advantage of 4-wheel drive. but you didn't really need that around most circuits because there's traction enough, and they had to run extra weight. I think BMW would have been good early
Yeah.
on, but they didn't seem to do that well later on, did they?
No, it kind of mid-90s, it kind of tailed off, didn't it? Because they did well
Yeah,
in 92, 93.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
some good ones.
the Hondas always looked a bit boring, and the Nissans, I'm fed up with the Nissans. Watching those at the Super, there's so many of them, aren't there?
Yeah, the Primeras and all the other
The
similar. Yeah,
Primeras, yeah. There are too many of
yeah.
them. And they look boring, they're ugly.
I'm glad you. I see. I never like the look of them. Everyone loves them. I never quite got on board with it. I don't know why. Never mind. But I'm glad.
I'm here
Yeah,
to offend.
I'm glad someone else agrees. Patrick said that, not me. Thank you. I'll pass the blame that way. Okay, one more question from Defan. It said, has Amy had a go in your green and gold 406 yet?
No,
And
but
if
she
not-
will do. I'm still waiting for the engine from Jeff Page,
Okay,
but it's getting near completion. When I say that, he says you should have it. You should have one of the. He's got 3 engines he's building for me. He should have it ready by January. He says.
Okay.
One of them. But no, I'll let Amy have a go in that. Definitely. She's
Yeah,
driven my Metro Turbo at the Superpower weekend.
Yes.
And she enjoyed driving that round.
Yeah, that is cool. That Metro, that is very, very cool.
It is a very cool car.
I do like that.
That was all designed. It's got all designed by Williams. When they did the 6R4, they did that suspension as well. So it's very trick underneath the wheel arches.
Yeah,
you know.
Very cool. It's very good. So I'm just thinking through some other questions here. Okay, very quickly. Do you currently watch the BTCC, and what do you think of the turbo boost and all that kind of stuff that's going on?
I've always said with the BTCC, I remember talking to Matt about his moaning about the penalty of extra weight on the car because he'd won this and that. I said, Matt, it's all about a show. And if it wasn't good on TV, if one person ran away with the championship, it wouldn't be good on TV. You'd all lose out. You'd all lose your sponsors.
Yeah, because the interest wouldn't be there.
Yeah, this is the show. This is the British motorsport show piece.
Yeah.
And it's and okay, you've got to have less boost. You've got to have more weight, or they don't do that anymore. You've got to have close racing. Otherwise, you all are out of a job.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the sponsors aren't interested.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
It needs to go down the wire.
Yeah,
it needs to go down the wire to the last race.
Yeah.
And all that is good for TV.
Yes.
And that's good for your sponsors. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in it.
Yes, I mean, and it's not ideal for the purists of racing, but we get it. We know why it has to be that way.
Well, I would say Tom winning this year, the best driver won.
Oh yeah, I think the best driver, the best car, the best crew. Yeah. It was all came together, didn't it? He was very, very good.
He got the car, the crew, all came together. And last year with Jake, Jake got his act together last year. Yes. Obviously, Tom hasn't changed in his capabilities of driving, but again, it all came together for Jake last year. It came together for Tom this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, so despite all the changes of boost and this, the best person comes out on top.
Yes, yeah. I mean, over the course of a season, that's always the case, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we wish Jake well in whatever he's doing.
I mean, if Nick Hamilton won the championship, then I'd say, yeah, something's gone on a bit wrong.
Yes. Nothing against Nick, but
nothing against Nick at all.
Yeah, because he is an amazing guy. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's very, and he drove well at Brands. He did.
That move around the outside was good. Brilliant.
Yeah. He's definitely on it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, quick question here from Simon Steele. Hello, Simon. Was Patrick ever tempted to go into the DTM? Because that was a proper in the 90s, wasn't it? Oh, love the DTM.
I would have loved to do anything competitive, But I think I when I left BTCC, that was a bit of a shock, but I understand why, because Bradisich needed a seat, and Gav being his mentor and manager got him in there. And then with my business partner dying in his road accident, I turned my back on motorsport.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking for a friend of mine, Pete Hall, ICS, Andy Rouse's partner, said to me after I left Peugeot, he said, Patrick, you'll get more enjoyment out of running a business. And at the moment, I'm employing 200 people, 200 families. We've got a very successful recycling business, which I don't work at anymore, but I'm still a shareholder and director. That's a lot better than being a part-time racing instructor at Brands Hatch and scraping a living doing gymkhanas or whatever, what old race drivers do. So no regrets.
No.
And DTM, would have loved to do DTM. But I don't know if the DTM, I mean, there's always the question mark, was the DTM as competitive as the British Touring Car Championship when Aiello won it with Peugeot? Had that Peugeot been in the UK, where would he have been?
Yeah.
If Rydell had been in the Volvo in the DTM that year, would he have beaten? Don't know.
Interesting.
I mean, the fact that you go over and do the Australian Touring Car Championship, and the Peugeot is very competitive over there. So horses for courses, you don't quite know, because you're looking at a difference of a few tenths of a second.
It's not
between winning and losing on all of these championships.
Yeah, for sure. Right, there's a comment that's come up. It's the third time it's come up. It's very long, and I need to try and read this. It's from Simon Steele. He says, just to remind Patrick that there was one good thing about Peugeot. He says that he spoke to Mike Jiggle for his memorable moments in motor racing book, and you chose as your memorable moment walking out of the Portland hospital with my wife after being told that she was pregnant. Then the mobile rang, telling me that I was now a works driver for Peugeot and I was about to get a sizable salary.
Yeah.
Apparently that's it. So Simon, we got it in. It's a bit long. It's a bit hard to read on the.
That's right. Walking out the with Pam, who's now back from her jaunt, and she said, "I'm pregnant." No, we took 10 years to have our one and only. We had to have IVF and stuff like that,
Yes.
And therefore, it was very special when Pam said, "You've actually, just got past the 6 weeks or whatever, and all is good, and Brilliant. You have a little girl inside you." And got out lit up a Marlboro, got the phone out the pocket. Mick Linford phones up, says, "Patrick, we want you to drive for Peugeot." So hey, that's good. That's
a good day, isn't it? That's a great day.
And that was the start of Amy.
That was it. Yes. And she's still going, obviously, of course. Obviously the comment did mention IVF. I wasn't sure whether to mention it, but that's great. That's lovely. Okay, right. I've got to rattle through some very, very quick questions just at the end here. Just some fun ones that we always do. Did you have a favourite driver when you were younger and into motorsport?
Michel Mouton.
Oh, what a shout that is. She doesn't get mentioned enough. Absolute game changer, wasn't she?
She was lovely.
Yeah. Brilliant. Heck of a...
That is what you meant, isn't it?
Sorry?
No, I actually met her once on the RAC rally. When I first started going out with Pam, we had a dirty weekend, which to me meant going through the muddy forest in Kielder.
The Kielder forests had to
be. The early hours of the morning, waiting for the rally cars to come through. And later on, we met her in a service area where I got a photograph taken, the three of us.
Oh, brilliant.
It must have been an old-fashioned selfie.
Yes, yeah, one of the early ones. But I mean, but she went
Yeah.
on. Obviously, she raced at Le Mans. She did rallying. She's now flying very high in various organisations as well, which is great.
Have you seen her Speed Queen? The film
Yes,
of her. Yeah,
fantastic, isn't it?
yeah, fantastic.
Well worth a watch. Well
Yeah.
worth. I'm very glad that someone's say it's taken 201 interviews, but we've got Michelle Mouton as it. Yeah, brilliant. Love that. Okay, very good. Now I know that Amy has a pre-race ritual. She carries a stone or something in her race suit, which is one of the weirdest
She
ones I've heard.
does. She
It's a
does.
brilliant thing to do. One
Yeah.
of the weird ones. Did you have any rituals? Because I've spoken to people that put one glove on or before the other, or get in the car from a certain side or whatever. Did you have anything like that?
No, no, no. I'm not superstitious like that. I remember I was in the motorhome once, and before a race, and John Watson's in there,
Oh yeah.
who is a professional race driver and does everything dead right and
Yes.
everything else.
I
And he
emailed you
saw
earlier.
I was wearing an old pair of grey socks instead of my Nomex socks. He says, "Patrick, are they Nomex socks you got there?" I said, "No, John. They're. I left them at home, so I've just got some old woolen socks on." He said, "That's not very professional." I said, "Well, it doesn't affect the way I drive." But no, I've never been one to have all these rituals and things. I know David Coulthard had the same pair of underpants
Yes, yeah, I've heard
from the
that.
day he started racing a go-kart at the age of 8 or something or other.
Race pants with holes in and stuff.
And also he was superstitious about washing them. I
Oh,
so
it must have been a very
no, so
lonely
no,
garage when he
nothing
retired
like
from a
that.
race.
Yeah.
Oh dear, love that. Okay, did you have a favourite circuit to race on?
I like Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. One,
Every
because it's
single
just
chat,
down the
Brand
road.
GP gets some love. Every chat, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I could be flashy and say Monaco or Le Mans, but I won't.
Yeah,
Brands Hatch. That's the
brilliant.
one.
See, everyone from even people like like Creasy who's tuned in tonight, right up to Mario Andretti and everyone in between. They all say they love Brands
Oh,
Hatch.
really? Yeah. But I do like
Everyone loves it.
yeah, I do like the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit now.
Yeah, I think
Everybody likes fast corners. We all
Yeah.
like fast corners.
Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel still
Yeah.
fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Cops.
Cops is a prop. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it took me a while to warm to the twiddly little infield bit that they did, but yeah, even that's pretty good.
Well, Nick Swift calls that shit 1 and shit 2.
That's what they're going to be known as.
I think it's village in, village out, isn't it? Village in, village out.
Yeah.
Village, yeah. Village people. So what's there? Yeah.
Okay. Was there a circuit that you didn't race on that you would have liked to?
I'm trying to think now. Laguna Seca, the twiddly bit going down the hill.
Oh, yeah, the corkscrew bit, and then down
corkscrew,
and
if you add that onto a Rouge, I mean Spa's a nice circuit as well.
Yes, I went there for the first time this year, and it is something else, isn't it?
Or Rouge is sort of not what it used to be.
Yeah,
because actually you if you want to go across the get a track penalty, you can just drive across the curbs. In the old days,
right? Yes,
not that I drove it in the old days. It used to be, you hit a wall. Whereas Stefan Beloff, didn't he hit the wall?
Yes, and sadly was lost, wasn't he? Him and Jackie.
Yeah. So it's good that you have the safety, but no, Thruxton I've always liked. Always enjoyed Thruxton. Cadwell Park. Yeah. I could mix all these circuits together and come up with the ideal one.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice if we could do that? So I'm just checking. Yeah, so some very cool circuits there. Very cool circuits. Okay, let's have two more, because we're running on. Favorite car that you've raced? You've raced a few.
I really enjoyed. I drove a Celine Mustang with Charlie Cox.
Oh, yes.
The Carphone Warehouse.
Yeah.
Green and white Carphone Warehouse.
Who did I speak to that drove a Celine? Was it Oliver Gavin or someone like that? And he loved it. Or someone, whoever it was.
Well, it was the first thing I'd driven, which was really quick. I mean, it was 6 litre, 600 horsepower, sequential gearbox, handled like a big Caterham. You could leave darkies out of every corner. I remember I tested that at Snetterton, and just fantastic. The sort of car you could just they put the pit board up, come in, and you just carry on for a few more laps, pretend you didn't see it.
Just keep.
just great fun.
Love that. Oh, see, Michel Mouton and a Celine. That is a good answer. Okay. Now, excuse me, this is the last one that I always ask to everyone. It's a rotten question, excuse me. Because there's no answer to it, and I don't know why I ask it. But
what would I take to the Ireland? That's a different program, isn't it?
That's a yes. That's a different program that's far more successful.
Desert Island Discs.
Yes. But what we've got here, you've shared the track in the BTCC and at Goodwood and at various other events with some amazing drivers throughout history. I'm just going to name a few. I mean, even going back to like Tony Ford and Tony Lanfranchi, guys like Jim Richards, you've shared the track with Tiff, David Leslie and Keith O'Donnell, God bless them. Ian Flux, got to mention Fluxy, otherwise he'll shout at me. But people like Radisich and Bailey and Hoy and yeah. He's in good value, isn't he? But even got Julian Bailey, Will Hoy, Tim Harvey, John Clennon, Rob Gravitt, Matt Neal, Plato, Rydell, Tarquini, Ravalia, Soper, Rouse, Menu, Winkelhoff, Brabham, Henry Pescarolo, people like Stig Blomqvist and Peter Brock, Andy Wallace and Jochen Mass, Jan Lammers, Warwick, Lotterer, Fran Kitty, Pirro, Bell, etc., etc. I mean, you've shared the track or been in the presence of these guys. Is there anyone in your mind that sticks out as not being like better or anything like that, but just sticks out as being a bit different and a bit good?
A bit good.
Or just for any reason?
There are half a dozen drivers in there who take it more seriously. A car can only go around a race circuit as quickly as physics will let it.
Yes.
If we all get our foot down on the accelerator at the start of the straight at the same time, no one's gained an advantage. If they all brake at the same time at the next corner, again, no one's gained an advantage. You get through that corner at the same mid-corner speed and get back on the power, no one's gained an advantage. Yeah. So at the end of that lap, everybody's the same. So how do you actually get the next 1/10 of a second? Yeah. And that is a lot of dedication and taking things seriously. And that's all about qualifying. And then when you come into a race, it's a matter of doing that consistency, lap after lap after lap. Planning your strategy in the race, seeing where the other person's weak link is and all that, that's what wins races. And a little bit of circumspection helps you not get knocked off, and that's how you win championships. So the guys that have won championships, important championships, I'm not talking about Formula One, I'm talking about competitive championships where the driver is more important than the car or the team. And you've got to say someone like John Cleland.
Yeah.
If you look at his results against a top 10 Formula One driver, where the top 10 Formula One driver would be 10th on the grid, and John would be on pole, does that put him into perspective?
Good point. Yeah.
And that was Derek Warwick. And then you have Nigel Mansell. And I remember when Nigel Mansell joined the third car with Ford in the Mondeo. And we were testing up at Brands Hatch on the short circuit, all the touring cars, all the laptops open on the pit wall, all the times coming up and all printed out afterwards. And we've testing there all day. And Nigel Mansell is now in the Mondeo. And Radisich was quickest. And Mansell was only half a second behind him in 24th place.
Jeez. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
And that's against a Formula One driver. In fact, he just won the Indy Championship.
Yes.
He'd won Formula One, he'd won Indies, and he comes into... Okay, it was his first time in a front-wheel drive car. So, I think he probably would have knocked off 0.6 a second to been quicker than Radisich. And I think, to be fair to Mansell, you've got to say that how would Radisich have done in Formula One and Indy cars? Be equal. No, John Cleland was very good.
Yeah.
Always up there.
Underrated.
Great racing driver, great ambassador for the sport.
Yeah. Good guy as well.
British. Unfortunately, Scottish, but British. But, you can't choose where you're born. No, I think Scotland's great.
Yes.
And when I go to Knockhill next, and people like Rydell, these guys beat the best. But I would say Rob Huff is right up there. Andy Prio was fantastic in winning 2 or 3 World Touring Car things. Yeah. You've got to be quick. You've got to win the race, but most importantly, you've got to finish the race in the points so you've got to be circumspect. Now, these are the guys I think that you can compare them with other drivers because all the cars are equal.
Yes.
Alain Menu, he was a top driver. Obviously, Gabriele Tarquini didn't quite make it in Formula One. Well, probably because he didn't have the money.
He was in shocking cars, wasn't he? AGS and Coloni and things like that.
He still won. Did he win the New York Grand Prix or something or other?
He won. He won something, didn't he?
He won something, but lack of money. So he's in touring cars, and I don't know if he's still doing the World Touring Cars, but he's probably retired now. But he had a pretty long career.
When he was racing up, he came on here a while ago. Most of these guys have been on, and Gabriele came on, and I think he retired 4 years ago, but he's now heavily involved at Hyundai.
I'm going to mention my friend Steve as well, because he's come up like I've come. He's come up from nothing, minis. He started off with minis because that's all he could afford. A lot of these other people came up through Formula Ford. I mean, Formula Ford would be multi-millionaire stuff compared with racing a mini.
Yeah,
there was absolutely that was as far away as flying to the moon, as far as Steve was concerned, as far as I was concerned, that ladder to that direction. And a lot of these people in touring cars came up that route. They were born with golden spanners in their mouths. Yeah. Steve didn't. Steve started off and he got where he's got because he won races. Yeah. And obviously did a fantastic job for BMW and Ford along the way. Sure. He's made a great career out of it. Yeah. And at the age of 70, whatever he is now, is still pretty quick.
Yeah, he can still pedal.
And enjoys it.
Yeah, this is great. Well, some brilliant names there from the world of touring cars and beyond. I mean, I think we can make a case for all of them. And I think it's a great place to end. Mentioning great touring car drivers from a great touring car driver. Hello. He is patiently waiting for you.
So he's waiting for a biscuit.
Yeah, he's being very patient. I'll let you go and feed the pooch.
Thank you anybody that's been. If there's anybody out there
Oh, there's been
judging
loads.
by the questions, thank you very much for listening and posing the questions.
Yeah, I mean, we've run over quite a lot, as we tend to do, but guys, I'll just echo what Patrick said. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in, for all the questions and comments and all the nice comments. Everyone's just saying thank you, basically, which is very nice. So thank you, folks.
And might see some of you on Saturday at Silverstone.
Oh, yes. Quickly, yes.
Amy and I are doing the Generations race, which is 2 generations of people driving identical MGBs around the Grand Prix circuit. That's one of the races. It's the Motor Racing Legends meeting. And so there's lots of other stuff, Pall Mall Cup and various historic saloon car races. Good weekend at Silverstone. Goes on Saturday and Sunday. Our race is all done and over on Saturday. And it's Amy against Dad in the, we're teammates, but I'm very interested to look at her lap time compared with mine in the MGB.
Yeah, friendly competition. No, great stuff. So yeah, folks, if you're free this weekend, head to Silverstone on Saturday. Probably catch up with Patrick and Amy as well. Obviously, wish you well for that. But yeah, the biggest thanks just for sparing nearly 3 hours of your evening to come and have a chat with us. It's been absolutely brilliant. So thank you very much, Patrick. I'm very grateful for your time.
Thank you. And sorry the battery ran out. Richard, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody else.
Right.
Thank you.
Awesome, guys. We will see you soon. Good night.
Cheers.